hot like hot wings with hot chocolate in hell. It's going off with Rap Critic and Muse.
What is that a reference to?
It's the opening line to the opening song on Macy Gray's second album.
You said Macy Gray. I was like, oh yeah, that first second album. Ooh, you lost me.
Second album.
Second album.
A song called Relating to a Psychopath.
What?
I have only just this past week listened to Macy Gray's debut album the whole way through, front to back. Never really thought to give it the time of day. I don't know what the fuck I was doing, man. We did fucking Macy Gray so dirty.
Oh yeah, that first album is a treasure. I remember my mom had it back in the day. I am a psychomatic Venus freak when I'm with you.
Yo. I hate we don't still have Macy Gray kicking it. Pink just released a new album like a few weeks ago. Macy Gray should still be releasing fucking albums and fucking topping the charts.
She's next to Khalees and, Sierra with the people who are like, they kind of had hits, kind of, like...
People should be having her on, having her little features. And that reminds me, because this morning, I will preface it by saying, tried. I'm sorry, RC. What? I really did try. I tried.
To say goodbye, but I told... What, is that where you go?
No, I tried to listen to ODB's second album. It's, oh boy.
Oh, that sounds like, wait, I think I feel a request coming down the pipeline. Oh man, what an album.
I almost made it the whole way through, I will admit.
It's not exactly rewarding if you're not enjoying what happened so far.
It's got its moments, man, but
it's
overall, man.
It's one of those things where it's like, the first album, like, it was where RZA was kind of in control of things for the most part. So it's like, there's a consistency. It's not perfect. It's definitely dirty and rough around the edges, but
I enjoyed it for what it was, though. I also just very recently listened to it the whole way through. I, for whatever reason, never really gave ODB the time of day either. But yeah, I liked that one.
He's one of those guys that, like, I would never say, like, he was my favorite. He's one of my favorites from the Clan. That's what I would say, but I would never say it's like, oh yeah, and of course you've got to respect his discography. It's like, no, I completely understand. It's an acquired taste, right? But it's like, it shows how much, like, personality can still account for something, where, like, so much of his shit will be, like, arrhythmic, and he sounds like he's too close to the mic, and then there's, like, marbles in his mouth or something. Like, he always sounds like he's talking, like, there's just something extra in his mouth, where it's just, like you hear, like, either, I don't know if it's a speech impediment, but it always just sounds like there's too much spit or something, See,
it's funny. He did not trigger my misophonia as bad as other people do. The personality definitely carried the album, I'll say that. Because there were times he would say some just out-of-pocket shit that is just like, what the fuck is he going on about? What's he talking about?
Did you get to, you don't want to fuck with me?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain. I don't think I heard the last couple songs. I think I made it through like 80% of the album.
It's the one with the trumpets. It's like, dun, dun, dun. Yo, when I'm saying you don't want to fuck with me, I'm not talking to you girls and women. Because y'all want to fuck me.
Yeah, because y'all want to fuck me.
I just love the specific way he says it. Like, he's like slightly stumbles over his words. Like, because y'all want to fuck me.
It's those parts that really make me laugh. Number one, I live in my mama's house. Number two, I live in my mama's house. It's like, you know what? All right. But yeah, I wasn't exactly like, oh shit, I need to pick up a copy of this one right now. It's like, I feel like I can wait. If I see it in like a bargain thing, I might grab it, but that's a required listening.
Yeah,
but
no.
it reminded me of that because we listened to that other one that had Macy Gray on a couple songs.
Oh, she was on 2 tracks, yeah, because that was the induction. That was the kind of better one. It had Raekwon and Method Man on it. It was kind of like chilled out. And then there was like the Elton John duo where it was like, let's go to the movie. Oh, which movie? I don't care which movie. I just want to popcorn, big salty. What song was it? Don't go break it. Oh yeah, it was like don't go break it my heart, nah, baby. I won't go breaking your heart. Like they both sound like they're weirdly strung out on something. Like you can like the thing about Old Dirty Bastard is like you can almost imagine him in the studio moving around, you know, like saying the things that he's saying. Must be a monster to master his stuff. And that's the big problem. Like, because that second album is so, torn apart between, well, got to do Wu-Tang stuff. Oh, but we're big now. We got to expand beyond just RZA. Because RZA, there's that sort of small feeling of is RZA holding us back, So, yeah.
Of course. You don't want that.
Right, like I could be having big hits with people over here if I didn't have to have, just the dusty loop production. Like imagine if Wu-Tang or, Method Man was still just like kind of having hit after hit and it's kind of like, oh, hey, don't you want to have something at the start of your track that's like a nice shiny hook with a singer on it and not just a kung fu sample all the time? Maybe you want to do, something else, you know what I mean?
Let's get hot dogs on a stick. And then later, they're just doing the don't go breaking your heart, don't tear us apart. And then Macy Gray is in the background, hot dog on a stick again.
Yeah, she just says like some weird random shit. Like,
it's like no one's talking about that shit anymore. You're talking about the salty popcorn, you're talking about ginger ale, and now all of a sudden you just randomly got to bring up the fucking hot dog on a stick again.
And when there's something where like ODB was like, he randomly starts mumble mouthing and going like, I'll ride for you, down for you, pull up on a nigga and shoot it. And I was like, whoa. Like, why are we going here?
The lyrics on Genius are a fucking mess.
So many question marks and guesses and parentheses.
Macy and ODB, too hot for the chief, Fucking. That's what I'm gonna do with you, baby. What's that spell? She says. Let's go to the park, after dark, ride some bitches, stab a bitch, N-word. Like, what the fuck?
Not even like, oh, I'm doing it for your honor. Yo, let's start some shit. Let's go to the park and like stab somebody.
And get on your knees, leave behind you atomic doggies, then go to the movies. I don't care which movie. I just want a popcorn, make it salty.
Oh my god. And in the background you hear like a slobbery, like sort of shit. It's like, oh, what's happening?
Oh, that's right. Oh god. That reminds me now that that was a request that A Sun Unique, the ODB album.
Oh yeah.
And we've got a couple requests we got in front of us today also. But before we get to that, I need to address something I've been seeing some comments about, and there's still some confusion around. People don't understand that new episodes are on a different Spotify page. They're like, what the fuck? I haven't been able to hear the last, 3 or so episodes. Where are they? Well, first of all...
I guess I can't hear this episode of us talking about it right now, so...
Well, I'm getting those comments on the YouTube videos, so they're still listening.
Oh, okay.
They're just listening on YouTube instead, but they can't find them on Spotify, so I keep having to link them.
Gotta get them plugged in to the extended universe. And also, just the internet doesn't really make... small content creators the easiest to find in general when we're trying to tell people about things that we're doing.
If you search Going Off under podcasts and shows, the first two, at least for me, it might be biased because it's me, but they come up, one says Going Off, the other one says Going Off Podcast. The one that has the multicolored background, it has RC, Cheesin', and it's got me with red hair and makeup on, you're gonna want to click that one. That's the more recent one. That has all the most recent episodes. And also, a couple old ones. because I re-edited a couple of the very first episodes, and I'm trying to go through the old episodes, get them posted, things that haven't been online in years.
You know, it's so funny. It's like we're so like, oh, bashful and ashamed. We're like, oh, our stuff is not great. Let's re-edit. And it's so funny. Like, I listen to like other podcasts, and I'll have moments where like I'll be listening, and then all of a sudden they'll stop talking, and I'll be like, wait, what's happening? And like, oh my god, like somebody, the person who edited, fucked up and like, forgot. So I have to fast forward a couple of minutes.
And that shit happens to me sometimes, not as often as it used to. It used to happen a good bit more. I'll be listening to a podcast and I'll just be like, do they just like not edit as much?
Dude,
like,
I sometimes we wonder, and I'm like, these would be big podcasts too. Like, I'm like, I thought these guys would,
See, that's the give and take. It's the catch-22 of having somebody who edits the podcast, aka yours truly, who's extremely neurotic about how the show is going to sound. I take out the uhs and the ums, the pauses. It's a very, very, very tight sounding podcast. And I realize that no one else really does it like that.
You're looking around and you're saying, was I trying too hard?
Yeah, was I trying too hard? No one else really cares about that shit too much. And that's probably how the turnaround is so quick, and why Going Off takes so long to get posted.
Look at that.
Because
artisan crafted podcasting, folks. That's what you get.
Oh, yeah. You got blood, sweat, and tears in this one. As I mentioned before I got slightly sidetracked, if you have an album that you want to request to be reviewed on a future episode, you got to head on over to our Ko-fi. That is ko-fi.com/goinoff, GOINOFF. And I don't need to tell you, folks, it's been popping over there lately.
Oh, man.
So if you want to be where the action is, you got to head on over to ko-fi.com/goinoff, because you don't want to be left in the dust.
Yeah, get a piece of the action, yeah.
We've got two extremely different albums before us today.
Uh-huh.
This is an interesting trade-off, RC, because I know when we have an album that's hip-hop and an album that's not, we typically leave the hip-hop for the main event. I'm looking at a fucking 4-side, hour and a half classic rock epic over here, and I'm like, I don't know, man. That might need to be the main event.
Good point.
So do we lead with Rawkus?
Yeah, let's lead with Rawkus Soundbombing 2.
This was requested by the next guy. Thank you very much. The critically acclaimed follow-up to the, I guess, successful Soundbombing 1.
That's right. And like all, video games that I've played, I'm always on the second one first. So let's do it.
Oh, yep. That was me in 92 playing Street Fighter 2. I didn't know anything about Street Fighter. Then I look at it and I say, oh God, this game is ugly as hell.
It's so fascinating. Like, video games are I think the only medium where it's like the first one is not the good one.
That's the trial run.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We gotta get our footing. The second one is like, okay, now we gotta figure it out. Except I guess in Legend of Zelda, because everyone says the second one isn't as good because it's like a side-scrolling RPG and not a top-down. But that just comes down to preference, really. So everyone is on this album, RC.
The sky is dark for all of the stars of hip-hop are on this freaking album in 1999.
All the stars are here tonight.
Look, you never thought you'd see Mos Def next to goddamn Eminem on an album. Mos Def showing up a lot more than Eminem does, but...
See, this apparently, and I was kind of surprised to even see Eminem on this, but this was Eminem's last guest appearance on an indie release like this.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
This is his swan song, because I was like, 99? Almost feels like he might be a little too big.
It's one of those things where it's like, they recorded it at a certain point, and then, it's set on for a little while, and then like, oh shit, he's heating up.
But I was also very excited because I was like, yo, this is gonna be fucking 1999, 1998 Eminem voice.
Hitting at the pitch, yeah, in rare form. And like, it's one of those things where as the album started off, it's like, oh, they gotta put the white boy first, huh? They gotta put and then you're listening to the song like, but damn, he is pretty good though. I mean,
you know, I gotta say it. It's one of the weaker songs on the album.
Okay, I actually, like, here's my thing. I feel like all of these songs end weaker than they should, like, and I feel like that's what puts a damper on them. Because I feel like I really liked this song, and something about the way it ended just kind of felt like, is that the punchline? Is that the go out thing? You know what I mean? Like, oh, my daughter scribbled over my lines. Like, that's like a silly little thing right before we go to the hook and then a third verse. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it ends with him saying, something, I get weeded. Yeah. My daughter scribbled over that rhyme. I couldn't read it. Damn. And I'm like, that's kind of cute. I don't know what it's doing here, though.
The thing about this is, especially if you go to Genius, like, you can see the sort of, like, oh, you can't even follow from track to track. It's like, oh, this actually was on so-and-so's album. This is on the Rugged Man's album. This is on Talib Kweli's album. So, like, a lot of these are like, oh, here are these loosies, these kind of, like, you know, ideas. Is this something, you know, that's what a lot of these songs kind of are. And I, as a hip-hop fan, can appreciate it for what it is and being like, oh, hey, here's these gems. Like, oh, shit. Like, you would have never heard this Eminem song if it wouldn't have been for this. You know what I mean? Like, I can appreciate it on that level.
This was kind of an outtake from the Slim Shady LP. There was a demo released on the Slim Shady EP, I think, or the demo.
Yeah.
And then it just was never officially recorded for the album.
And guys like Mos Def, like, my thing with Mos Def has always been like, oh man, you know, the super lyrical cat, and he's a triple threat. He can act and sing and do that. And it's like, he's always been so inconsistent. Like, in terms of a longer career. Like, it's like, you know, that first album, Black on Both Sides, oh, absolutely untouchable classic. And then, he's been very experimental, but I am not motivated to listen to any of it. And it's like, I've heard reviews of people going like, no, this isn't like some sort of, oh, you're missing out by not giving him, you know, no, like, it actually is legitimately inconsistent experiences. Like, he does this sort of like, you know how when you do the rapping thing of like, I'm rapping, it sounds really impressive, but if you really listen, I ain't really saying shit. Like, the ballistics is sadistics, and I'm kicking the ballistics or choristics, you know? It's that sort of flow where you're just like, okay, but this is, you know, super ill nothings. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I thought to lead with Eminem makes a lot of sense. He's a really fucking big name. You know, this is the less we're gonna get from him. But I did write down, this was what Stan was going crazy over.
Oh, man.
Because he fucking references this song in the letter. That shit you did with Rawkus. It's like, oh shit, that was this. And I did quote, because this was impressive, give me 11 Excedrin, my head'll spin, medicine, get me revving like a 747 jet engine.
Yeah.
That's hot.
Yeah.
Like, the rest of it, though, is so try-hard, even for Eminem standards. Like,
oh, sure, this is horrorcore for its own sake. Like, that's why it's on the Lucy. But I did like that one lyric. What was it? Talking about his mom and being in her stomach, where he's just like, I slit her stomach open with a scalpel when I was 6 months and said, I'm ready now, bitch. Ain't you feeling these kicks, cunt?
That's fucking hot. Yeah, I like that. But it's like, very surprising. For 1999, Eminem is the only one spitting homophobic shit.
Yeah.
Not on the rest of the album
little it is,
yeah. And he's ticking all the boxes here. He's like throwing out racist stuff. He's saying homophobic stuff.
Where was that?
A brainiac with a cranium packed full of more uranium than a maniac Saudi Arabian. And it's like, all right. And then later he says, high-speed IV full of Thai weed looking Chinese with my knees stuck together like Siamese. And then he has to say, Siamese twins joined at the groin like lesbians. And then he says, I hope God will forgive me for my sins. It'll probably all depend if I keep killing my girlfriends. Eminem, we can't take you anywhere. You're incorrigible. You're such a little scamp. All the mischief you get into. Then we get the High and Mighty featuring Mos Def and Mad Skills.
Oh, wait.
B-Boy
Wait.
Document 99.
Where are you going? We've got to talk about the skits.
Oh, that's right. How can I be so foolish? Oh, goodness.
my God.
RC, I will say, when I was already staring down the barrel of an hour and a half Beatles record, and then I saw how many tracks were on this one, I was like, oh boy. I was patting my forehead because I was sweating.
Spectacular.
Then when I noticed how many of these songs were just little intro skits, oh, that was a saving grace. I was like, okay, this ain't so bad.
It did make the full experience less annoying overall, but...
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily needed intros to, like, every song.
I don't think we needed 2 skits ahead of an album. Like, what are you doing?
No.
What are you doing?
I did forget about those also. Yeah, we got an intro, and then, like, okay, but this is the real intro. like, no, you can't do that. Can you?
Nobody likes that. Like, this is the thing, right? Like,
just get to the good shit. I see Eminem is right there.
Right, get to the point.
When are we gonna get to the Eminem factory?
Stop driving me around the corners.
I hear him doing his shit. He's right over there. He's got the 98 speech. Like, oh shit, he's right over there. Check him out.
I just don't understand.
No, we gotta listen to fucking like 5-6 minutes of intros.
Oh, someone just going, hey, look, it's this guy, then it's that guy. Is like, okay.
Right. You're like, this is good. Thank you. Let me go.
Wait, before you get there, we gotta introduce you to our couple of friends before we... Like, that's what this album is. It feels like a party where you, like, the cool guys in the next room, but because you came with this guy, he's gotta introduce you to his fucking friends. You're like, God fucking damn it.
Hey, this guy's back in town. You haven't seen him in a while. That's cool. Oh, shit, he's got that job. Yeah, that's great. That's really great. I missed you all. But where's the fucking dog? I gotta pet the dog. I know the dog is in the kitchen.
And it's the most useless.
We're looking at each other.
Like, there's no... I cannot remember what was the difference... Even the difference between the intro and Any Man intro, like, what significantly happened differently?
No.
And I wonder, like, you know, because there's the thing, like, us just listening to us, like, I always think about this, right? Like, most people, they just think about their experience as they're listening to it. But I always like to think, like, someone sequenced this. Someone has to go, yep, we're going to have the intro. And then we're gonna have no music yet. First, we gotta just play another skit. Yeah, they're gonna love that. Like, who is the? I need a name.
I'm very curious about the sequencing on the Beatles record too, but we'll get there.
Anyway, so I liked the Any Man fucking crazy joint, but yeah, I definitely see the sort of a Swiss cheese holes in the armor there. B-Boy Document, Most was definitely the best. This album was mostly a certain case of the names you know are bringing the best, and the names you don't, you could maybe skip.
I liked Most Defs in the opening verse. Big step down with Mad Skills. But I thought Mr. Eon saved it.
No, you're right.
Actually,
Actually, he was pretty nice.
It was just that middle part.
Yeah.
But we fucking saved it at the end there. But then, oh man, we got fucking Pharaoh Monch.
Oh, yes. With World War III. Wait. Preceded by the World War III intro, which...
Of course.
What the fuck happened on that again? Was it just more people introducing themselves or something?
I think it's just like record scratching, and then they kind of introduce the people a little bit. It's like, okay, that's fine. You could probably get that done in like 20, 30 seconds, honestly.
And did you notice that like the beginnings of lots of songs would be like a minute in before the rapping would start? You're just like,
yeah,
guys, get to the point. Like,
you're like, this could have been in the intro. What are we doing?
I'm not here to hear their name being scratched for a minute and a half. I'm here to hear them.
Man, this is where it fucking really kicked in for me. And I even have a couple quotes here. Cleverly beginning them with synonyms when I went in the homonyms, extended them out, defended them with linear raps and bombing them. It's like, I even fucked that up. But
you
know what I
guys
mean?
hear where he's going with this. Like, it's so like, whoa.
Weight on my back like Atlantis, our tactics to hem 'em like denim and pin their backs to the canvas. Like, okay.
Yeah, no, Pharaoh also fucking shows up for sure. Man, we need to listen to some Pharaoh Monch sometime. I feel like he's also been one that kind of gets
It's been too long.
Yeah.
I used to fuck with Pharaoh Monch so hard.
Put
And
your
it's...
hands up against the wall and spread them. Opposition, we just tapped them. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
I will say, though, I thought Mayor was kind of mid.
You didn't like Mayor? Oh, I love
Not as much
Mayor.
as that one, no.
I thought that one was great. Maybe I'm just a sucker for the 1990s action comedy, comic book action rap verses, and especially with that really high, like, synth part that was going... Like, it just felt like the comic book pages were flipping, and it was like, oh man, I shot the mayor, the intrigue, because, you know, he's been starving the people of the city, and, you know, my dad lost his job, so I'm like, fuck it, at least I shot the mayor. Like, I liked it.
I don't know. Compared to everything else, and especially the other song I heard Pharaoh Monch on, I don't remember that one being as hot.
Muse wasn't enthused. What'd you think of the Stanley Kubrick joint, the R.A. the Rugged Man joint?
I don't think I heard that.
Did you look up the YouTube playlist? And because some of the songs,
I used to do a lot of skipping around.
Yeah, but some of the songs are left off accidentally.
I had to flip around. I saw a couple of them that weren't in the playlist I'd found, but no, I didn't hear an RA one. Damn it!
The Stanley Kubrick one, that was a pretty solid one. Yeah. A message from Q-Tip, I think. Like, yeah, guys, it's Q-Tip here to tell you to keep doing the thing that you're doing. Q-Tip, Soundbombing, it's a thing. The album is happening, and it will continue to happen. And I'm here to say, continue doing it. It's like, oh my God, like they don't say anything. Like, I hate these on albums. Ever since the first album, I remember hearing it on that KRS-One album, where it's just like, yo, this is DJ so-and-so, this is DJ da-da-da-da. Here's a bunch of people who probably important if you know who we are, but like, if you don't, it doesn't matter. But, you know, you got cool points for having this person on the album, so here I am to be the person who gives this person cool points. I'm like, I don't care.
Luckily, that's the only song I didn't hear. I'm looking at the official track list, and I heard all the other ones. So we're good there.
So then there's Crosstown Beef intro, which I think is just another like music thing. And then I think Crosstown Beef is a solid joint. I think they hold their own pretty well as far as like, you know, illustrating the stories.
Medina Green is a group consisting of DCQ, Jawborn, and Mos Def.
Oh, I see.
So Mos Def just making the rounds.
This is a Leaders of the New School situation where it's like, it's me and my group. It's yeah, sure. It's not just you and then a couple other people. Like, yeah, no, it's just look at us on a group cut. Yeah, don't you know the whole group? Don't you remember this whole group? What didn't he call him, like the UAC at one point? He shouts them at the UAC, and I was like, no one knows who that is. What are you talking about?
That's absurd.
I was like, UAC? I was like, I thought it was like maybe like a joke about like the UAC, the 1950s censorship board or whatever the heck or something.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was like, UAC? What is that? No one knows who that is. And the thing about Mos Def is like, it's always been this weird thing where it's just like, he is convincing as a rapper, but not fully convincing as a rapper. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain level of him who's like, I know that you are an actor who originally started acting first, and there's a level of this that is like, it's kind of a pose, you know what I mean? Like, at a certain level, right? Like, It's like, I'm doing rappity voice, and it's time for rappity rapping. You know what I mean? Like,
it's time for rappity rapping. Yeah.
And it's like, if the thing is, if the songs were more fully structured in ways that were like lyrically just dope all the way through, I could ignore that. But then there's some parts where it just feels like a little bit like it's about just putting on the voice of the rappity rapping thing, where I could feel like, Was that a dope bar or was that a filler bar? And I'm supposed to think it's nice because, well, at least it's not over a jiggy beat in 1999. You know what I mean? Like, there's that sort of feel, you know? Like,
You know, I just noticed something here, and I'm mad about it. Between Stanley Kubrick and Crosstown Beef, it was a message from J Live and Prince Paul.
yeah.
And Prince Paul doesn't produce any of these cuts. He's just on here leaving a voicemail message.
How many people in the 90s were just like, I am in no way affiliated with, like, 20% of the projects that I'm even involved in. It's just me calling someone and leaving a message. Like, yep, I exist, and everyone knows who I am, and so here's me lending credibility to this guy. Like,
That's how Dre can get a fucking award for To Pimp a Butterfly, because he fucking left a voicemail message at the beginning. 7XL by Sir Menelik.
yeah, what a name.
Sadat X and Grand Poobah.
Okay.
This was a solid cut, even though
Yeah.
I really didn't know what the fuck was going on half the time.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
I could not follow Sir Menelik's verse to save my fucking life. But it was solid, but he was going all over the place and so fast that I had no idea what he was talking about.
And my thing is, the first two verses are really good. The last verse, I think it was Sadat X. What?
Okay, yeah.
What was that guy
Tell
going
me-
on about?
Tell me why Sadat X had to say this, okay? Over on 8th Ave or up at the tomb. What's an N-word to assume if you lead me to the room? It ain't all cool. I'll still wild out and pee in the pool. Then cap a fool for a thing that was in high school. We were doing so well. I don't know why you thought that was necessary.
Here's the thing. It's like, it's preceded by, it's like, brand Nubian, the name, will live long in the annals of fame. Like, oh, respect, put some respect on the name of brand Nubian. And if she says she don't get down, well, then that's just game. She ran the same shit yesterday with Bird from what I heard over on 8th or everything. What's a nigga to assume if you lead me up to your room? I mean, it's like, wait, what? I thought it was like the infamous brand Nubian, respect us, or, you know what I mean, get the fuck out of the way. And it's like, but I mean, come on, this girl was leading me on. I mean, it's like, what?
Why is he peeing in the pool?
Like, how does that lead into because it's like,
I don't know why.
It's like, we're epic, incredible people, and then, yeah, that chick said she didn't want to fuck me, but she fucked that other guy. I mean, come on, you know, she led me up to her room. I thought, oh, you just want to smoke weed, play video games? I thought I was going to fuck, but, I mean, she has a pool, though, so I'm going to pee in it, but, you know, it's like, what? And then I'll punch someone for something that happened, or shoot somebody for something that happened in high school. What is
Something they did in high school, yeah.
What is happening?
I don't know.
The undeniable, incredible, grand, majestic, brand Nubian. Oh, wait, hold on. They gotta solve a little conflict that they had from high school.
Put a bookmark in that. I'll get back to that in a second.
You know what's so funny? Have you ever had like a thing where you like look back on it like 20 years later and you're like, yeah, what was I angry at that person? Like, what was our art?
Oh my
I don't
God.
really know what we were mad about. Like, you know, and then we're like, did I cut off that friendship with that person over something that didn't matter?
I sucked shit. I sucked so much shit in high school, man. I held grudges at people over the dumbest fucking shit. I was really good friends with this dude, and he was dating this girl. And this girl left him and started dating this other guy. And because of that, I held such a fucking grudge at her for like destroying my really good friend. Like, it fucking broke his heart. He was just so... I don't think he ever recovered. But anyway.
Oh, dang.
I was like, oh, I hope they fucking break up. I hope they're miserable. I hope all these things. And I was such a fucking prick. And it didn't even happen to me. It happened to my dude, but, like, I was so mad on his behalf.
Right.
Fast forward, like, oh my God, 10, 15 years, me and Neb, we go to see Janelle Monáe on the Dirty Computer Tour.
Oh, nice.
Let out on stage on the fucking gurney. lifting the fucking sheet up. Oh my God. So good. Anyway, we go with that girl and another girl I knew from high school. They're good friends. At the end of the night, we're all like saying our goodbyes or whatever, saying our goodnights. And I was just like, I'm so sorry. And she was like, for what? And I was just like, I was such a fucking prick. like I had to. I was just like, I know you don't remember, but I do. And it's so wrong of me.
And isn't that weird? Where it's like the people that you feel that you've wronged, where it's just like, oh my God, they probably like that's burned in their brain. I'm a piece of shit. And it's like, oh dude, I don't even remember that.
They don't remember. They never remember. But oh my God, the fucking hole, it burns in your heart. You feel so bad. And you just feel like, I have to atone for this because it'll never be the same. It'll never be right. And then it's just, hey, I'm really sorry for saying that stuff. And it's like, dude, I don't remember any of that shit. And she was also like super fucking drunk anyway, so she did not give a shit. She was just like, what the fuck ever, man. I was like, okay, cool.
There was a podcast where it was someone talking about someone like coming up to them, is like, oh, I sobered up, and going to people atoning for things, and it was just like that one thing where it's like this guy coming up to her and was just like, oh man, I talked so much shit about you, I did all this, da da da, and it was just like he comes up to her and says like, man, forgive me, brother, I haven't been great to you. It's like, oh man, I didn't think anything of it, and then it's like, I talked all this shit about you, I did all this thing, and it was like, well, damn, I didn't know that. Now I'm getting kind of pissed. It'd be better if you just didn't say anything, honestly.
Oh, that's
now I've got this energy in me that wasn't there before. I thought you were great. I've been friends with you this whole time.
Oops.
Like, oh shit, forget I said anything.
Oh God.
Oh shit, back to this album.
Yeah, because up next we've got Talib Kweli's first appearance.
Can I say something? Talib Kweli is usually, again, this is Mos Def and, Talib Kweli, Black Star. You're supposed to respect these guys. They're the most, it's the late 90s. This is the respectable rappers that you're supposed to like. But, like, Talib Kweli is, like, he's good, but there's always that he's a producer more than a rapper thing that's, on him, where it's just, like, you can hear the sort of, like, over rapping that he'll kind of do to be like, well, no, respect me as a rapper because look, I may be a producer, but respect this because I'm like so quick with the bars and going so fast. And on this track, he was so chilled out that like my brain like had to rework that, like, oh, that's Talib Kweli. Oh shit. Wait, hold on. Okay. Like, cause him and how do you say her name? Bahamadia? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I thought the verses were fine,
and
I like Talib. What's that?
I said you weren't feeling this one as much.
I liked it. I thought it was fine. I just really wasn't a fan of Bahamadia's like whisper talky delivery.
A little too low key.
Yeah, like a little too laid back, I
think I just like the that's what it was about this album. This album was like about it being a grab bag of, here's the real MCs of the late night, forget all those puffy, compilation albums, here's the real sampling of what's going on in the late 90s and real hip hop, and so I kind of like here's this different sound, and oh wow, we're going to a really quiet corner over here. Oh, okay, like
I think, I know it didn't taint my opinion of it, but I should also mention that Talib sucks shit now.
Oh, yeah, he is. Okay,
like, he's a giant piece of shit now.
A lot of these people, like, Mos Def is weird. Again, it's like this thing where it's like, I thought he was like this respectable, cool guy, and then you're like, he's like getting fake passports to, marry his wife and go to different countries or something like that. You heard about that?
No, I haven't heard about that. No.
It's like a weird thing where it's like, what's going on? It's like, no, I'm a universal citizen or something like that, and like trying to get into South Africa, but he's like banned from South Africa now because he was trying to pull a fast one on some bullshit. It's like, what is happening?
I haven't heard anything about that. I've just heard whenever. It's like every few months, Talib Kweli comes up on my timeline, and it's never anything good.
There was one specific instance where it was just like, hey guys, did you hear that Talib Kweli is just like randomly mad at this black woman on Twitter?
Yeah, it seems like he just picks random fights.
And it's, you know what it is? It feels like someone who doesn't realize that the internet is live and like we can see you doing this in real time. Like, you know, like when a person like, he just like, you can kind of see him just going like, no man, fuck you. It's like, dude, you're famous. This is Twitter. You don't just do shit like this. Like, you know. But it's one of those things like this person has a level of fame where they're like, you shouldn't just be like spending what's clearly your evening, like just shouting at someone on Twitter.
Oh, he was also one of these fucking dudes who was like taking shots at Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh my God, are you
during
serious?
her whole thing.
Jesus. Oh no, the Hotep brand Nubian late 90s rappers are like, it's all about being real. And also women should be sexual.
Yeah, fucking shut up. Shut up.
Oh no.
But then we got the title track here. Dilated Peoples and Tash.
Man, your boys.
Soundbombing.
Why is... Like, I wouldn't exactly call this something that has a bombing feel to it. Like,
no.
Yeah, I was like, why is this
I didn't think so
track?
either.
What's going on?
Yeah, like, I thought it was okay. Not exactly, you know, centerpiece of the album good, though.
It is always weird when stuff like this happens, where it's like the title track of the album, where it's like, you would think this would be the thing that, like... Hey, this is a centerpiece. This is when we're gonna make sure we got the good producer, make sure he's fucking making sure this shit sounds tight. But like, I've noticed so many times, I think it was like a Foxy Brown album, there will be a lot of times where I'll be like listening to an album and come across the title track and have that feeling of just like, that wasn't as important as I thought it was gonna be.
It does seem to keep happening on this show. Where the fucking title tracks are super underwhelming.
Then the next track, Brooklyn Hard Rock.
What was this?
Here's the other white rapper from the 90s who's underground. Oh my God. Wait, can we talk about this delivery for a second?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Just the fact that it's like, there's something like, you know, you have like two different flavors that don't normally go together, and you'd think like the mixing of it, because it's so different, would make it stand out, but it's like, maybe we just shouldn't have done this. It's like Urkelos with like strawberry and banana, you know, whatever the fuck.
It almost felt like Fat Lip.
But like, you know, so it's this one guy going in, and it's that he has this sort of style where it's like, you know, I did one take, and now I'm punching in on the track right over the other with the same slightly too hyped up intensity so that the effect sounds like I'm a comic book character. Like, it's that sort of thing, like, and it keeps going the whole track. And so, like, here's my run, and here's the next one coming at you real fast. And so it's like, it's doing that where it's like, feels like the lyrics are like fucking, you know, coming at you, you know, from afar and, you know, pushing into the foreground. And then it's like, after this guy's like weirdly like deliberate delivery, then right after that, it's like this British chick who's like, hey, Brooklyn Hard Rock, your status mad tight, your status mad tight, your status mad tight. I was like, what's happening? And it's only the one verse. It's only the one verse. And so you're just like, why was that like that? Like, nothing else on this album was like this.
Yeah, no. Like, that's when you get like a mixtape feel, is when you get little inconsequential shit like that. But yeah, I don't know. They just kind of threw off the momentum we were having there. Like, especially after the last song wasn't really anything all that special.
Yeah.
And then we got Mayor right after it. This fucking stretch, man.
Man.
Like, for me, it's...
Yeah, I was feeling this track. I like the, you know, the news reporter said the assailants fled the city. Meanwhile, I'm shacked across the street in some shitty-ass hotel, waiting for things to get a little quiet. Think I can try to bounce, but nah, why should I try it? You know, like, I like the storytelling he was doing, you know?
You're talking about Mayor?
Yeah, on Mayor.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I just didn't really love the hook.
Yeah,
and I guess I was just a little like, it was fine. It's no patriotism.
That's
Look,
I was like, maybe it's because, and then this track happens.
it's only been a couple weeks, but I gotta say it again. Do we need Killer Mike? When LP, since 99, at least, has been killing it like this.
Jesus, man.
Oh my god.
Again, this feels like another one of those, like, you know, here's a Lucy that's from like a thing that I'm working on that has like a bigger, you know, scope to it, but this track didn't kind of fit. So, you know, but this kind of fits in with the general, you know, fuck the system, late 90s feel. So hey, let me throw it on this, you know, but holy shit. Like even the Lucy's for this motherfucker still have that awesome dystopian future shit. Like it feels like he's over rapping, but it's just like the words feel like they're coming in like a flood, you know, because it's not like there's like a bunch of rhyming, but it'll be like but it like it feels deliberate, so it kind of like it works to your ear, you know what I mean? Like what was that one line where he goes like, you up against Jesus freaks, Mormon corporations and young Republicans, indelible NATO forces, hidden agendas, puppet governments. I'm loving it. Keep the people guessing who I'm running with. Control the population and hide behind sacred covenants. It's like, holy fuck. And then what was the line? Senseless, join the census, censorship, sentence, ascendants, triple felon, citizen, paid penance. It's just like, I don't even know what the fuck you're saying, but that's incredible.
I'm very glad you actually took notes of some lines, because there was no way I was going to be able to actually pick anything to quote from this thing, because it's just a fucking, it's a whirlwind, and it's all incredible.
This is one of those, is like when the second verse is over and then you're like, oh, there's a third verse, yeah, like when you have that feeling,
Yeah.
like there's more.
When I scrolled down and said, oh my god, it's not even over yet, there's fucking more to this. It's credited to Company Flow, even though LP's the only person who actually raps on it.
Huh. But yeah, there's that one lyric where it's like, I'm sarin gas hidden in your apartments. I'm stuffed like a robot hidden in the fat asshole of Carmen. Like, what the fuck?
That was the one kind of
Yeah. Oh, it's the
Other than
90s.
that-
We gotta have our you know, South Park reference.
Yeah, it's 99.
Okay, so speaking of 1999,
Were you not feeling this one?
no.
I thought it was okay.
Well, okay, here's my thing. Like, two of the verses are not bad. What is this hook with the, I'm getting mine in the 199? Yeah, this is a real hip-hop hook when it sounds really like, you know, stilted and fucking, like, awkward. That's real hip-hop, yo.
I did also have to quote this. That was just... I don't even know how you would describe this line, but I groaned.
Who was it? Was it Sadat X with his...
No, I think it was a Common bar.
Oh, wow, really? Because Sadat X sucked butt. Like,
Again!
He always weirdly sounds like, it's just like a little bit in some of the lines, he sounds like all of his things are like exasperated questions, like, I'm doing this, can you believe this? This is what's happening next.
Have you heard about this one, folks?
Sadat X is the rapping Jay Leno, that's what
No, but it's this bar where he says, N-words say I'm nice with metaphors, but these are similes. I was like,
yeah, that was such a... Oh my god! Like, dude, you know what I mean? You're being an asshole. You're being a pedantic asshole, and that's why people don't like you commenting.
That's the communiest ass Common bar.
Like, you know what it is? Common is another one of those. This is the issue to get into, right? I remember growing up and being like, hey, industry, the mainstream stuff, that's whack. What you want is these underground cats, and guys aren't really that underground. They just like, you know, have the you know, the soul quarian cool guy look. You know, they wear really big knit hats, you know, and sweaters and shit. You know what I mean? We're just like, you're not underground. You've got mainstream backing funding. You just don't look like the shiny suit guys. Like, you've still got your own brand, you know. But
I think there's a couple knit hats on the cover.
Oh, yes, indeed. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with that as long as, like, the music is good, right? Like, But with some of like, Common stuff, I remember having that feeling of like, I feel like I'm supposed to automatically respect Common, but something's not right. I feel like I can't just throw my lot in the same way that I would throw it in with like a Master Ace. And it's not that he's not nice, but it's like, there'll just be like sometimes where it's just like, okay, even for like the underground loving ass, like this feels up its own ass, like, yeah.
Yeah. I did quote though, however, the one couplet, some get Range Rovers, some religion changeover, angel on my shoulder telling me to remain sober. I thought that was dope.
Yeah.
That fucking jumped out at me.
And Go, and what's the other song he did? The song dedicated to Erykah Badu, The Light. Those songs are dope. I'm not saying he's completely whack, but it's one of those things where it's just like, I always had that thing. It's like that thing where you're hip hop head and the name Common, you're supposed to like that guy. You're supposed to be checking out his stuff, right? And I'm like, I don't know. When I heard that track, I don't know.
Yeah. There's always some reservation.
Yeah, that Universal Mind Control album, I don't know.
I don't like the name of that one.
That was his Pharrell album where he's like,
okay.
Hopefully Pharrell, 2 decades into his, weirdo shtick, and maybe it's not really as hot as it used to be, but maybe for Common's album he can pull it back. Ooh, no, it didn't work. But that's basically what that album was. It was just like, you can get Pharrell, you can get me a hit, right? You can get me a hit, right? Let me get a real hit real quick. Yeah, we're gonna do it by sampling like late 70s, early 80s songs, so it doesn't feel like I'm selling out, because I'm sampling the 80s. I'm sampling Planet Rock. See, it doesn't feel like I'm selling out when I'm making a song that's clearly selling out,
Let me get one of those boom, 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 boom beats.
Yeah, right.
Let me get Diamond, When It Pours, It Rains.
Yeah, okay, so, I think I remember liking the verses.
I liked it too. It's just really short.
Yeah, and then I feel like the ending line was also a thing where it was just kind of like, oh, that's what you're going out on? You know what I mean? Am I mistaken? Let me go see.
I honestly don't really remember it. I remember liking it, but just kind of being like, oh, okay, that was a fun thing.
It just felt like there should have been some kind of hook around it, because it was like there's one verse that was like a full verse, and there's like a second verse that's a little shorter, and then it's just kind of like, okay, Yeah, it was like, because he kind of has some really good lyrics earlier, and then he kind of ends it on from the true and living, bona fide top contender, not a pretender. I live my life in splendor. Remember, I got the ill type phonetics. You whack MCs sound pathetic. And then it just kind of cuts there.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, okay. It was just, it doesn't really end on a bum line. It's just kind of like here's a multi a little bit, I
almost quoted that too. I remember that just being like, You just kind of kind of slowly rolled to a stop.
Honestly.
Yeah. But then next universe.
Okay.
Honestly, the next 3 cuts all in a row, I think were all fantastic.
Yeah.
Next universe, Every Rhyme I Write,
mm-hmm.
and On Mission.
Yeah, they actually really pulled it home. Yeah. Because Mos Def was fucking incredible. That spacey beat, I was here for it all fucking day. And this is one of those tracks where it's like, he could be spitting ill nothings and I don't fucking care. Because it just came together so goddamn well.
There's a really interesting verse that goes, and he does something I don't think I've ever really heard before, where he goes, my light shine boast from east to the left coast.
Yeah.
North and south both, 'cause it sound dope. Boy, your voice sound choked. With the next man's style between your teeth, tongue and throat. Like, yeah, and it was like
I was like, whoa.
Gotta wash your mouth out with soap. And I was like, he fucking rhymed a noise.
Onomatopoeia.
How did you fucking do that?
You fucking Missy Ellioted that shit.
I can't even replicate it. I don't remember exactly what noise it was. It was like a whoa. And I was like, whoa,
yeah.
Okay. And then he also went on to do down for the longest sun, peep the song list, radiate enormous, pure peak performance, vocal cord the strongest, a cappella or cordless, hit town, draw crowds like space shuttle launches. Jesus!
Man.
Fuck, dude! That shit was fucking hot.
Yeah, that was next universe type shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Then, every rhyme I write, I thought this was just a solid fucking posse cut of verses flowing into each other. And it's one of those things where like, there's like a couple of weak bars, but it's such a solid good time that it makes up for it. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I really like the ending with Eddie Griffin. It's like, yeah, this is Eddie Griffin, right? I want to give a shout out to the Beat Junkies, J-Rock, Babu, Rawkus Records, and the mother in the house. like someone told him, oh, you can't curse on this.
Dude was just happy to be here.
I just love the idea of Eddie Griffin, of all people, on an underground rap record. Like,
it kind of had that Nardwuar running up to Tyler the Creator energy. Where he's like, Tyler, remember when we did that interview? And Tyler's just, Nardwuar, and he's just shaking him, and he's hitting him. He's like smacking his hat.
Oh my god.
Did you ever see that?
No.
Okay, you need to find it.
What is this?
Tyler, it's me, Nardwuar. I have a gift for you. What is it? It is Tweak These. Yeah, boyfriend. Yeah,
It's Twink, boyfriend.
You do. You fucking asshole. You do.
Like he's so happy to see him, but he's just screaming.
Oh, I'm glad to have a bit of internet joy.
Yeah.
His hat came off.
Yeah. Oh man.
Holy shit.
Then we wrap it up with On Mission.
Whoa, man. A solid fucking Talib Kweli cut. Like, holy fuck. When we rush and beat these niggas like percussion, you ain't touching nothing. I give instructions to move on your weak production. Drop that African king shit and that royal flesh and respect the queen straight for the BK. Thick girls' legs, thick like girls' legs when they run the pin relay. Like, I was like, whoa. Like, I like that little bit of oh, stop the foe, ho type of shit. Like, I love little lines like that, right? Where it's just like calling, the fake dudes to task, like, oh, not every dude with dreads is for the cause, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
I had that quoted, and I also had, now let's begin, while you testing these better men, you get fucked up like it's your first Friday as freshman, Letterman on the varsity team, I pipe dream, make them cream, freeze like reindeer caught up in high beams. Fuck!
Damn, Talib!
Fucking went in!
Shut my mouth and call me dumb. He fucking showed up.
Yeah, oh god.
Like, I wish that the Mos Def Talib Kweli albums sounded like this the whole time.
Yeah. I remember liking it back in the day, but I don't really remember much from it. But this, I wish I had checked this out way sooner, because this album is fucking intense.
Yeah, solid. I would give it a 4 out of 5 overall. Like,
I also gave it a 4 as well.
I was thinking about giving it a little bit lower, because I'm sorry. Fucking 12 skits. What the fuck? Seriously.
Yeah. It's a bit unnecessary.
The only skit that I thought was cool was the last skit where it just kind of sounds like they're just fucking around and having fun. And I was like, I wish this was the energy the whole time, where instead of just introducing people for the clout, it was like, hey, here's this guy and we're going to joke on him for a minute and da-da-da. You know what I mean? Like, let's actually have some energy and, we're going to freestyle and just fuck around and maybe it doesn't work, but like, you had a good time with the actual good song, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I wish it was more of that. Like, it would be so cool if it was like in these interstitials, so it was just like, oh, here's someone coming in to freestyle real quick. This person doesn't really freestyle, but we're gonna get him on real quick. Yo, say something. You know, like, that would have been so much more fun to be like, oh, hey, here's the world of rap in 1999, and here's the real dope lyrical shit, but we're having fun. You know, it's still music at the end of the day. You know, like, I actually really liked at the end of the Talib Kweli song, and I think it was also at the beginning of the Mos Def song, where it's like, when you hear someone who clearly is like, just kind of thinking up rhymes on the spot, but they're just kind of continue flowing, and it just kind of sounds like the sort of like, oh, the cup of rhymes spilleth over, like, the rhymes are just spilling out everywhere. Like, I love that little moment where it's just like, oh man, this is what hip hop is all about. It's about the rhymes, bro.
Dr. Goat, man. I think we might have mentioned this on an episode a while ago. I think it might have been on the Abbey Road episode, if I'm not mistaken. It's the only episode that makes sense. Where I want to say I said that that reviewing the White Album would be fun for the show. Now, it was fun for me because I've heard this album before and I'm familiar with it enough to know where the high and the low points are. But RC... I'm just very, very curious. You know what? Fuck it. We need to skip ahead. What'd you think of Revolution 9? I would just go through the order, but that's 29 songs we'd have to get through before Revolution 9. We just gotta cut to the chase.
Okay, so, like... One of the first notes was, I can't believe this is what this album sounds like.
On the beginning of it?
Yes, it was like early on.
Okay, yeah. You know what? Okay. You make a very strong argument. Let's go back to the beginning. Because when I mentioned sequencing, to open... a 4-side double album, fucking double LP.
Right. They're fucking Wu-Tang forever.
With the fucking Beach Boys novelty song pastiche.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, are we in the 50s? What's happening?
I don't know. Like, I don't think it's a bad song. It's not a great song, and it definitely shouldn't open the album.
What, like, I was writing down, I was like, what use does anyone have for a song like this? Like, it's a song by a British guy about going back to Russia, sung like a black man from Louisiana. Like, what's happening? Like, what is happening? I don't get it. Like, the only thing that worked for like a second was like, and the Moscow girls make me sing and shout. That Georgia's always on my mind. Like, because Georgia, I get it. Like,
the country, Georgia.
That's like the smallest justification for this. It's like the rest of this is just like, this is not justified in any way. Why is this track happening? Like, it feels so much like remember the big hit that you knew? Well, here's the song that kind of sounds like that big hit that they did to try to get a big hit in Russia. Like, that's what this sounds like. Like, oh yeah, remember when their whole thing was just sounding like black musicians from a decade ago? Well, here's when they were still trying to do that, and maybe this was one of, like, the last of the Lucy singles from before we did, like, albums, when we were just, like, when shit was still, like, could be regional, like, in the past, where it's like someone could be huge in Russia and huge nowhere else, and huge in Japan and huge nowhere else, so it's like, oh, let's hedge our butts. Here's a song that mentions the USSR. There's like little jokes about it where it's like kind of justified, but
it's so topical. Fucking Paul just thought it would be funny to sing a song like California Girls, but
what about Russia?
Yeah, as if a Russian is singing it.
Like,
he just thought it'd be funny.
Why do you back in the US? Da, comrade, back in the USSR. Like, why didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't dedicate enough of himself to it. I think that's the problem.
Okay, honestly, I feel like that's the problem with pretty much, like, most of these songs.
Yeah.
They are fucking rough drafts for children's songs. I am sorry, but some of the shit I'm listening to, I'm just like, what in the fuck? Were there reviewers who were kissed the asses of all these people? Were they fucking babies? How was this not questioned for so long? You can't question that. Those are the greatest art of all time. They're British and they're doing the music of the people, we don't want to directly go to the concerts to. They've got to be brilliant. Like, I don't get it. Like, what is so great about this? Now, here's my thing. Here's the thing, though, that infuriates me. I hear moments on this album where I'll be like, wait, that's what I thought this album was going to sound like. Fucking a song like Blackbird or something like that will come and be like, that's what I thought this album was. That's what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be, here's the band that makes all these incredible songs and every now and then they have a little goof them up and they do something silly. It is the opposite. You can't get these assholes to fucking concentrate on making anything consistent. Like, I don't understand.
No.
Like, you can't.
Especially not on this album, because this is the beginning of them falling apart.
What was the good album? Can you tell me what was the album where it's like, that's the album where they were undouchable? Because I feel like as I'm going, I gotta throw down the gauntlet right now. All right, we've been going through David Bowie's shit. Okay, like this is the parallel. We've been going through David Bowie, and these are both artists that have been kind of like are they really that great, or the you know what I'm saying, the benefactor of good PR and being and David Bowie has fucking stood up to snuff. He's stood the fucking sniff test for the most part. The Beatles are fucking floundering around. What the hell is going on with these guys' discography? Where I feel like I've been fucking tricked. Like this whole time, like I feel like when you hear about a movie the whole time and you think it's like a really like as a kid I thought Stephen King's It. I thought that movie was so scary and I'd never seen it because I just heard about it and Stephen King, it looks so scary. And then you actually watch it and you're like, this wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. And I thought it was gonna be like, your darkest fears, that sort of thing. And then it's like, he just kind of turns into a clown and then like a spider at the end. It's like, really?
Now here's the problem, because Dr. Goatman did it. No disrespect, Dr. Goatman, but you did it wrong. Because you requested Abbey Road first. And in my opinion, Abbey Road is probably the best Beatles album there is.
Let me go back and see what I thought of that one. Yeah.
You didn't love it. And the problem there is because there is goofy shit on there that shouldn't be there, like Maxwell's Silver Hammer. And Octopus's Garden.
I kind of liked Octopus's Garden. I remember that.
You did kind of like that one. I forgot. You didn't like the medley on side 2.
Oh, no. Oh, man.
The one with all the really short songs crammed together.
Because it's one of those things where, like, I feel like at the time this maybe sounded really cool, but, like, with hindsight and, like, being able to hear, like, albums and this just sounds like y'all just threw a whole bunch of shit together at the end. Like, like...
Yeah, that absolutely is the Lucy's, for sure. That's just stuff we had kicking around.
This should have been on the special edition, and the album should have ended 6 tracks ago. Like, yeah.
See, like, I know this is 30 songs, and we'll fucking get to it. This is the fucking in a minute meme. Because I gotta go back. Because if people talk about, Sgt. Pepper's is not only considered the greatest Beatles album, but in many publications, the greatest album of all time. So I'm just looking through here, right?
So, okay, yeah, I'm looking at Abbey Road. That has the bangers on it, right? Here Comes the Sun, because
something.
Yeah, I Want You to See, So Heavy. That's one of those tracks where it's like, this is half an incredible track. Like, the weight of this track is so cool. And I just feel like, where's the substance? I feel like this needs to be a track with substance in it. And the fact you're relying on the fact that this half of it sounds like it has substance to really carry the track. It feels like after a while, it's like, this is kind of all we're having, so let's just fucking run with it. Like, there was nothing else you guys had going, so you're just gonna go with this for 7 minutes. Really? Like, that's how I feel about so many Beatles tracks where it's just like, this is a really cool idea. And because you're the biggest band ever, no one is there to tell you to, like, actually flesh it out. Like, that's what I feel about so many tracks. But I'm sorry, get back to your point, because you were talking about another album. Did we review that one as well?
We did not do Sgt. Pepper. I'm just looking through the track list, and I'm just trying to think to myself which songs you would like off it, going off what we've talked about in the past. You probably wouldn't like this album either, honestly. Because there are songs like, for the people that know, being for the benefit of Mr. Kite. Probably wouldn't be a fan of that one. When I'm 64, probably wouldn't be wild about that one.
But it has, with a little help from my friends, which is the black and white side of the beat. That's what I kind of consider the stuff that still sounds like it's from the fucking 50s. You know, this is the black and white TV side of them, but I kind of like that joint. Lucy in the Sky.
That's the fucking Ringo shit.
Right.
Ringo is so stuck in the past. Yeah.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, I think, is nice. Whenever they just get on the psychedelic shit and just fucking like live in there, and I can hear the rainbow colors floating everywhere, that's when I can just relax and enjoy it. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen that much, and it's really infuriating.
You'd probably enjoy Within You, Without You, because that's a fucking Harrison tune. So
I haven't heard that
he's
one.
just fucking going all in. It's him on the sitar, kind of getting, in his bag. But yeah, you'd probably have mixed feelings about this one too. And if people consider this to be, like I said, not only the greatest Beatles album, but the greatest album ever recorded, is only the only place to go is down.
And my thing is, it's like I feel like they have great albums within their discography. To me,
agreed.
The Blackbird, and what's the other song that also sounds like has that Blackbird feel?
Yesterday?
Maybe it's Yesterday, but you know what the fuck I'm trying to say. It feels, you know what it feels like? It feels like there are albums, it feels like we're listening to their albums sideways. Like, we're here, like, there's like, oh man, hear that really psychedelic track, because, yeah, so the next track is gonna be that, it's not gonna be, you're gonna hear the rest of what this sounds like on the next album, but what you're hearing on the next track is that Paul album that he wanted to make of the 1920s. Yeah, you're gonna hear that track next. Yeah, so, and on the next album, yeah, when you're also gonna get one track of that really cool psychedelic sound, yeah, after that track, you're also gonna have to hear another one of Paul's track. Like, that's what all of these albums feel like. It never feels like there's any consistency. And I know why, but it pisses me off because, like, that's not an excuse. Like, and it becomes a point where it feels like the meta-ness of what, the music, how the music was made, kind of becomes more important than the music itself. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, like, especially the appreciation of some of the music after a certain level. It's like, yeah, the fact that they're all pissed off at each other is part of the novelty of what kind of, like, the lore of them hating each other. Like, that's why you're listening to it, in all of the shit that you can hear in the background of them clearly being pissed off. Like, that's what you kind of get out of it. But it comes to a certain thing where you're just like, but can you guys just please make an actual, like, consistent sound? Because I'll hear a song like Blackbird, and I'm trying to remember what the fuck the other song was, because it was another one from...
Was it on this album?
No, it was. I think it was on the other album we reviewed. Abbey Road. Let me see the track listing.
Yeah.
Here Comes the Sun.
Here Comes the Sun is beautiful, yeah.
And Blackbird sound like they're on the acoustic, guitar-only album that they did. And I'm like, I want to hear just that album. But no. I have to hear it interspliced with Paul's, 1920s album, with Ringo's fucking children's album. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, guys, focus.
Would you be surprised to know? Being, I just want these people to get along, and realizing that there's no harmony in this, that halfway through the recording of Back in the USSR, Ringo quit the band briefly.
What did, like, fucking there's like a couple of seconds in the song where, like, the drums stop playing. Yeah, that's where he actually quit the band. And then he comes in, like, at the end. You thought it was like an artistic choice. No, those are actually the couple of seconds we had to send someone with a fucking basket full of Coke to his house to get him to come back in.
You hear the fucking sticks bounce on the floor. You hear the footsteps. Everyone's voices get a little quieter as they turn their heads to look at Ringo as he's leaving.
The door.
Barely hear the pleading with the producer with Ringo outside the door. No, Paul had to do fucking drumming on this song and another one. He's pulling double duty. Yeah, because Ringo just isn't there. Mm-hmm. Now, do we go song by song?
I was...
Or do we jump around here?
There's so much. It's like, okay, I would skip over... I would just say, like, the stuff that is not as interesting, I was just going to be like, whatever, and skip it. Because Dear Prudence is, like, this feels like one of those, like, oh, their name tracks, the one you remember, but, like, what the fuck is being said on this song?
I have a quote here. This might not come across in the lyrics, but the song was written by John Lennon in India while they were studying transcendental meditation. One of their friends, Prudence Farrow, Mia Farrow's sister, became overzealous in her meditation and turned into a recluse. Lennon wrote this song as a message to snap her out of it.
Okay.
Like she locked herself away.
I wish that there were any details whatsoever to illustrate that. This is my problem. Like, they just go like, well, like a lot of these songs, they like gesture at the idea of a story and never give you anything. You know, there's
another one in that category too.
Yes, so it's just like, here's the idea of a story, and there's something that people are really like, confused or shocked at that they did, but I'm not gonna tell you what it was. But and it's like, oh my god, that I don't fucking care. Like
the song "Sexy Sadie."
Yes.
Much later.
Oh my god!
A woman, again, this is written from the same experience practically.
Oh, well, she was the wife of the Elephant Man, and her husband was trampled, and it was this big fucking thing that he doesn't fucking bring up in the song, right? Something like that.
No, it's worse, honestly. A woman accused their yogi, their spiritual leader, of being a fucking abuser.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And this song is basically a victim blaming anthem where John is like, what have you done? You're such a tease. You ruined everything.
Wait, what song is this again?
Sexy Sadie.
No, Jesus. That was like making me fucking...
Yeah, that one's bad, dude. I don't like that one.
I'm like retroactively douche chilling right now. Like, because all the lyrics are like hitting me and be like, what the fuck? This is the fucking, why did Kobe have to kiss that whore? Why did he hit that raw? Why? Oh my god! This is the fucking. Hey, girl, you should have known before you went to him to the hotel that he wanted sex. Hey, girl. Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a rough one.
No,
it's weird how
shit on a hot tin roof.
Lennon decides to write 2 songs during his fucking meditation experiences.
Yeah, real fucking enlightened.
Yeah, one of them is kind of mid, and the other one is victim blaming.
Shit, but
not great.
And drinks in it. They're always trying to tear a man down. I'm enlightened, by the way. I'm bigger than Jesus. So I do like Glass Onion. I think Glass Onion is weirdly a cool song where even though like the songs that he's referencing, I don't like particularly like. Well, I mean, Strawberry Fields is a fucking banger, but you know, like I Am the Eggman, you know, that's kind of like okay, whatever. But I like the fact that he's referencing them. So it's like this weird sort of like, self-referential, like this is their version of breaking the fourth wall. I was like, I heard you like that song and that song. Well, here comes the next one. You know, like that's kind of a cool, cute sort of like, this is how we as, you know, the Beatles make our mark. We do weird, like, things like this. You know, who's making a song that's telling you about the songs that I already wrote? Like, we're breaking the fourth wall, we're doing something different. Like, I can enjoy that energy, you know? And I also actually really like the idea that, like, halfway through, well, what feels like halfway through the song, it just cuts off to the do. Like, there's something about
just creepy like strings.
Yeah, there's something about that experimental that just just popped for me, where it was just like, because I remember listening back to the song again and having that moment of like, oh my god, when does it happen? And I was like anticipating it and like waiting for it, and then when it happens, I was like, oh shit, that's when it happens. Like, it's so fucking unexpected. Like that's a good thing. That's a good, feeling to have listening to experimental music where you're like, wait, when does it happen? When does the fucking, oh shit, that's cool. I want to hear the thing that disrupts things, like.
It was a song I really liked when I was a kid, probably because it is like self-referential and like fourth wall breaking. But it's basically just a song addressing people like yourself who question their songs that don't make sense. And it's like, yeah, man, they don't.
But he's not even really like addressing it. He's just, you didn't like that? Well, sorry, but I'm going to keep doing it. Like, that's basically what
yeah, well, I can't, what do I tell you?
I still make millions off of doing bullshit, so I guess here I go again. I've heard that people have had enough of silly nonsense songs, but I get paid billions of dollars for it, so here I go again. Like, what was that one lyric? Again, see, here's the thing. Like, that one lyric was like, I told you about the walrus and me, man. You know that we're as close as can be, man. Well, here's another clue for you all. The walrus was Paul. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, wait, huh? What? Was there any importance to that? I don't care. Why did that matter? Like, it's like, here's a reveal that doesn't mean anything. And it's like, I didn't even have questions about it. Like, it didn't.
There was the Paul is dead rumors.
Yeah. But
so
that's
any
not
kind of clue.
Yeah, but that's not like going against it. Like, if he was saying, actually, yes, Paul is dead and I'm wearing his skin, that would be playing off of it, but just going, actually, he's a walrus in one of the songs. Like, that's just dumb.
And there was an interview where they were just like, yeah, so in the song you say the walrus was Paul. And it was like, yeah. And they were like, but it wasn't. And it was like, yeah, no, it was me. And they're like, yeah, okay, so what's that about? And it was like, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's
like, oh, okay.
You know what again, it draws you in where like you have to care about them as people. Like, what this album feels like is people who are more famous than anyone has ever been before and just not knowing how to react to that, Oh,
100%. Because they were also very young when they became like the biggest musicians in the world. Yeah,
and so there's that sense of like, whoa, you're following me? You think everything that I say is important? Well, no, it's not. And actually, I'm going to make fun. You're stupid for following me. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, but the thing is, like, I feel like there's always been this sort of, what feels like this PR sort of, they're the best band because their music was just so great. And it's like, you just look at it, it's like, they're just fucking around. There's no big plan, like,
Yeah, no.
And, so it's like, it's one of those things like, I can enjoy it on a certain level, but it's like, I guess it's like the prestige that has been placed on the Beatles has kind of like fucked up my ability to enjoy some of the music, I feel like, to be able to appreciate it for just the silliness that it is. Because it's like, before I even got to it, it felt like half the music world was telling me, oh, you just don't understand, this is the greatest thing ever. And then it's like, is it? Like, when Time Life magazine every 2 years has to do the 32nd annual, year of, Let It Be coming out. Oh, the 40th annual of this album. The 50th year when they appeared on Ed Sullivan. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, I'm supposed to think this is really important. And it's like, why? What were they saying? Because, man, it's the 60s, Vietnam, all this important stuff was going down. What were they saying at the time that made them so important? Not really anything, actually.
So what'd you think of Obla Di Obla Da?
Okay, wait, before we get to that real quick, because there was that Lennon quote where, from the other song, the glass onion at the end. Again, the more I look up, the more it like ruins me my enjoyment. He's just like, this quote where he says, oh, that's just me just doing a throwaway song a la Wallace, the Walrus, a la everything I've ever written. I threw in the line Walrus was Paul just to confuse everyone a bit more, and I thought Walrus has now become me, meaning I am the one, only it didn't mean that in this song. And then Playboy asked him and said, why Walrus? It could have been the Fox Terrier as Paul, I mean, it's just a bit of poetry, it was just thrown in like that. And that was the moment where I was just like, okay, mask off, fuck these guys. Like, what is this? Like, what are you doing? Like, everything I've written is just, throw away, nothing. I'm just bullshitting around. if they were a little bit more self-aware, their interviews would just be them looking at the camera going like, why are you listening to me? I don't know why you think I'm important. I don't know why. Please stop listening to me. I don't have anything important to say. You know?
It's like what we were waiting with the Kendrick thing, where he was just like, oh yeah, I'm going to pose dressed like Jesus, because y'all make me out to be Jesus.
And, okay, so, yeah, Obla Di, Obla Da. Look,
which was their attempt at a ska song.
I'm not saying you can't do crossover culture joints, right? Like, I think Stevie Wonder did, like, the Master Blaster jamming it to the break of dawn. I thought that was a nice, like, you know, like, here's a dedication to these artists that aren't getting like really big hits in America, but we know they should. So, you know, let me represent their style so that like people can be more aware of how cool their stuff is. You know, like I get it on that level, right? But this is just so fucking stupid. Like, what the fuck is this song about? It's so dumb and goofy. And halfway through this, I'm like, is this not a rock album? What are we doing here? What is this?
We're just having a good bit of fun, you see.
This fucking jug band music, like, what the fuck? This doesn't even sound like ska. This doesn't even sound... That's the thing that's infuriating.
Well, it's first wave ska, RC.
Oh, I fucking guess.
You don't understand. It's the original ska before, you know...
We went to, you know, Europe, I guess.
Yeah.
What
It's to its roots. It's like when Paul randomly decided to break into a ska thing during Live and Let Die.
Oh my god.
You don't know when he's gonna do it.
And the thing about it, again...
What does it matter to you?
Just speaking of like half cool ideas, the holy shit, intrigue, what the fuck is happening? Oh my god, is Paul actually the coolest Beatle of all time? Like, oh, never mind.
Oh.
It's like,
oh, no.
he just gets in, these guys just get in their own way in terms of like making good music. And this Obla Di Obla Da song is just like, there's a certain way that they record themselves. There's certain, you know, filtering or something like that when they put on themselves and they're doing like, this is the ethnic people song, you know, and it just, it's just like, I'm just listening to this like, can you just show me the people you were inspired by and I'll just go listen to them? Because this is embarrassing. What are you doing? Like, the thing about it, because it's like, hey, oh, your music's really cool. How about we do what you're doing, but throw a bunch of bullshit and nonsense over it? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, bloody, oh, blood, die, indeed. Get this shit.
See, I was never a big fan of it as a kid, but I've kind of warmed up to it now. I still think it's silly, and I don't love it.
The stupid laughing. Because I said Desmond and Marley, and it's a reference to the... It's like, oh my god.
And he fucked up in it, too. For the longest time, I thought it was like a trans thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, because it's not really clear who he's talking about exactly as the phrase is structured. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you're kind of able to be like, well, is he talking about... But, yeah, it's not because, oh, he's making a statement. It's just because he's fucking lazy. They don't write these songs well.
You know, the whole time, Desmond... Oh, my God. Desmond has a bar in the marketplace, and Molly is a singer in the band. Desmond says to Molly, girl, I like your face, and Molly says this as she takes him by the hand. And so all that's going on, right?
Yeah.
So Molly is the performer.
Uh-huh.
Desmond is, you know, he's working in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
That's the distinction. But then, during verse 4... Happily ever after in the marketplace, Molly lets the children lend a hand. Desmond stays at home and does his pretty face, and in the evening, she's a singer in the band.
What?
So I was like, so wait. No, Paul just fucked up, and he said the wrong thing. It's like, oh, well, that sucks. That could have been interesting, but it's not. Here's a question. How'd you like Wild Honey Pie?
Okay, I really liked Wild Honey Pie.
Okay.
Until it ended 50 seconds in. And I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, they're like, oh shit, Paul's getting weird. This sounds like some Primus shit, like some weird fucking early. Like, what the fuck are we doing? This is so cool. Oh my God. And then it just ends and I'm like, okay, fuck you guys for really real now.
Oh.
You guys do a song that I'm actually really enjoying. And then you're like, fuck you.
See, this is why I really think this album is good for us, because I think there's going to be a lot of surprises, because I did not think you would enjoy that one.
No,
because they're just yelling, honey pie!
I know, but it sounds
honey
like...
pie!
As much as later on when they try to like emulate the Southern black guy thing, this one, because they're just having fun and just throwing themselves into it, sounds the most like similar to what would actually be like, oh yeah, maybe some like, you know, jug band song, some hillbillies, you know, making some like music up in the sticks and the boonies, you know what I mean? Like
the fucking that fucking sounds like Primus. Like,
yeah.
I want to see video of them performing this because it sounds janky as hell.
And the thing is, I was like, wait, there's a song called Honey Pie Later that has nothing to do with this song. And I'm like, well...
Very different.
But you have to know that that's there, though, so why?
It's the distinction. You got a honey pie, then you got the wild honey pie.
Wow, why is wild honey pie first? That's the offshoot. You have the original, and then you're like, oh, here's oops, all honey pie, all wild honey pie. You're the tame one, then the wild one.
You're getting it. You get it.
Oh man, yeah, that really pissed me off, and because of the fact that this is the first sound that I really, really enjoyed, and then later on, yeah, no, we're not going back to that, but it's kind of we kind of want to use a similar title. It's like, are you like? I just want to look. It's like, are you fucking with me? Why are you fucking with me? Like,
so were you not a fan of honey pie?
No, absolutely not.
Honey pie.
Get this
Make
shit
me
the
crazy.
fuck out of my goddamn face. My dad liked this shit. Then fucking show it to him then. Don't fucking put this on this goddamn album. Because it's like, yeah, yeah, you enjoyed that as a kid. Okay, update it. Make it sound like it came out now. This is not a new thing.
That's a good point.
People do that all the time where it's like, hey, we're going to take that sound and then, ooh, what if we put some rock and guitar under it? Actually approach the challenge by doing remix, update, do something.
Yeah, make it something different.
Dude,
yeah,
Randy
I agree.
Newman's like 1920s fucking do bullshit sounds better than this. Isn't that insane?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would rather listen to a random Paul Newman.
Randy Newman.
Yeah, Randy Newman song. Because Randy Newman, there might be some biting social commentary, might be like a character,
for sure.
might be some musicality that's kind of interesting that doesn't just sound like they're just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. It actually sounds like a musician who's putting together a fully realized piece of music. You know what I'm fucking saying? And so it's like, what in the hell is this? Get the fuck out of here with the continuing story of Bungalow Bill. This fucking baby's music. This is baby music. Get out of here. This is where I wrote down, it's like, dude, this is like the fucking Fisher Price, my first David Bowie music. Oh, you want to make abstract stuff, but you don't actually have any, you know, commentary behind it. Well, here's these fucking Child's Play lyrics about going through the jungle with the buffalo bill and the bungalow bill.
Hey, but this is like an anti-hunting song, though. That's a message.
Sure. Yeah. You just have to hear that fucking going through the jungle with the bungalow bill for like 30 fucking hours, like half the goddamn song. It's just so chugging when you just get to that point where you're just like, and here is the hug with the bungalow.
All the children sing, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Like, yeah,
fuck
you
off.
don't want to listen to it, you know? Like, yeah. And, okay, while my guitar gently weeps.
Ooh.
This is exactly what the fuck I'm talking about when I say they've got a really good idea and then hello? Did you guys want to finish this? Did you guys want to go somewhere with this? Did you guys want to do something other than what we now know what they did, which was basically, I came up with a melody and just wrote some lyrics to, I just wrote some lyrics and I'll come back to it later. And, I clearly didn't, rewrite some of these lyrics. I see that the floor needs sweeping while the guitar... What the fuck was that? Rewrite that shit. That has nothing to do with what the fuck you're talking. And it pisses me off, especially because I hear some of these lyrics, right? And you're like, he's talking about while my guitar gently weeps, and you're listening. It's like, it feels like there's some sort of metaphor in here about, maybe like the musician's instruments as kind of like a metaphor for slaves performing for their masters, something like that. And then there's all this, and then it'll just say random bullshit about sweeping the floor, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that wasn't related, and that wasn't related. Like, like, it feels like the rap, like when I listen to a rap song and like, this guy's spitting, and then, okay, those lines were clearly just kind of because he wanted to have 2 bars in there, but okay, we're getting back to spit. But with a song, like a Beatles song, like, lines take up more space, so you're left hearing them longer and being like, what the fuck does that have to do with the rest of what's happening? Where it does sound like there could be something going on here, but you didn't flesh it out in any way. And so it's a frustrating listen, because I'm just sitting here like, I kind of hear what you're going for, but you clearly didn't finish it. So, like, I feel like, and it's so weird because I feel like I listen to Gorilla songs, and like, what is the difference, right? Like, what is the difference between me listening to a Gorilla song where I still have, I can still have some heat for Gorilla sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But like,
oh yeah, for sure.
I think the difference is because there are some abstract tracks on here that I enjoy. In fact, whenever it's the psychedelic Beatles where we're being weird, I can forgive it pretty much every single time because I can enjoy the aesthetic, the vibe of what I'm in. That's what the key is. When you can firmly place me in a moment, the bullshit lyrics that don't make as much sense can wash over me, but that there's still an art to that, right? You can't just be random, right? Like, Yeah. And so I think that's what it is. It's like when you hear lines that stick out so much, and it's like, it kind of makes you have that moment of like, wait a minute. Do you know where the fuck you're doing? Do you know what you're saying? Like when I hear that Beach Boys song that we heard on one of the albums, the White Puff, Glistening Shadowy Flow, like that has such a chill like vibe to it where it's like maybe not all of it makes sense, but it's worded in such a way where it doesn't poke out to your ear as much, where you can just enjoy what's being said in the flow of the music. You know what I'm saying? I think that is, I think, my issue at the end of the day, where there's so many moments where it'll be like, I want to like this, but what the fuck is happening? And I feel like so many people go like, because that was a cool idea, well, I'm going all in for it, and that's so cool. And it's like, wait, guys, but did he actually say anything, though? Was that actually about anything? Next perfect example, Happiness is a Warm Gun. Look, I think this song is good in that as a piece of art, it evokes emotion. You know what I mean? Like, whenever I hear this song, I'm always kind of like, it makes me like cringe, wince a little bit, where I'm like, making this song that's about unaliving yourself, and but having it with this cheery, doo-wop 50s thing, like, that's clearly an idea that they're going for, right? That's something, but it's something that is so full and weighty that for the hook, I'm like, I feel where this is happening. I feel the darkness. I feel the irony. But where is that in these verses? Where is that related to in the verses? What the fuck does Mother Superior have to do with anything? Is she the one who's putting the gun to her head? Is it about a nun who's trying to do this? Like, is that what the song is about? Because that doesn't feel like that's related at all. You know what I'm saying? Mother Superior, jump the gun. What, why, how, what did she do? Did she kill you? But no, but it would have to mean the song is about how happiness is, because you're talking about aiming it at yourself. So the Mother Superior killer, what? Huh? Is that what this was about in the lyric? I'm sorry, maybe I missed something. Let's go back to the lyrics. In the verse, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm missing the brilliance. Let's take a look. What's the song I have this woman? She's not a girl who misses much. She's well acquainted with the touch of the velvet hand, like a lizard on a window pane. Okay. The man in the crowd with the multicolored mirrors on his hobnail boots, lying with his eyes while his hands are busy working overtime, a soap impression of his wife which he ate and donated to the National Trust. Y'all know that don't make any fucking sense and has nothing to do.
I can't tell you that I understand what any of that means for sure. No.
And the thing that pisses me off so much is that it's like, but this hook is so intense and clearly about something. So it pisses me off where you're like I feel used. Where you're like, you put me through that emotion of hearing this song, which is like, oh, it's really like wins the emotion, but you clearly didn't really have anything underneath it. So, you know what I mean? So I feel kind of like, you know, I feel like emotionally you're just fucking with me, you know? Like, it's that, it's like, yeah, that's what it is. I wish the verses actually, this is what I wrote down in my notes. With such a dark, ironic hook, I wish the verses actually had weight and were related to really stick to the point of what's happening in the mood of the song. Because without that to stick at home, it feels like you're just freaking me out without a real reason other than the edgelordiness of the act in and of itself of doing, you know, suicidal, you know, song, but with an upbeat 50s anthem to it. You know, it's like, it just feels like the aesthetic in and of itself, but it's like, well, 40 years later on the internet, that would just be like that's just a dumb trick that someone does on the internet to be like, hey, what if I did this, you know, really dark song with dark lyrics, but with the 1950s upbeat, jazzy, swingy feel? You know what I mean? Like, that's a parlor trick, you know, like... So unless there's something else really going on in the songwriting of the song to make it mean something that you did that, you know what I mean?
I've honestly never really read into what it's about because Genius doesn't even mention it's about anything in particular. It says the song was banned by the BBC because people, you know, guns, but they also thought it was about drug abuse and shooting up heroin.
I see.
But Lennon's like, no, it's not about that either. I was like, okay.
I mean, and it's one of those things like you're using pretty specifically, you know, incendiary lyrics. Did you have anything on your mind? No, not really. Okay, then. All right, let's go somewhere else. Is David Bowie doing anything? Can we talk to him? You know, like, this is like
Lennon and Bowie were really good friends. You can kind of see it.
Well, maybe Bowie should have hung out with him a little bit more, okay? You know?
Yeah.
Like, Bowie over here is trying to be like, hey, you know, maybe our song should actually, like, be about things, and, you know, we should have, like, plots so that when people listen to the songs, it's like having a full experience. No, we're famous. Let's just bullshit around. Like, oh my God.
We can't act like, though, that Bowie's lyrics aren't abstract and sometimes don't make sense either.
That's the thing. It's not that they don't, but it's like they fit in the pocket more. That's what it is. And it's not that, you know, they don't have like weird stuff, because we talk about it when they come up, right? But overall, his lyrics fit in the pocket more of what's happening in the songs. These lyrics feel untamed. They feel first draft. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think it is. Like, it feels like David Bowie can fool me into thinking that this isn't just stuff being thrown at the wall. The Beatles cannot. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
This is a 4-sided album, right? We've done one of the 4.
Oh, man.
We've talked about 8 songs. There's 22 more. So what I propose...
Okay.
Is,
what if it was about a fucking dog?
You want to talk about the dog song?
Look, there's nothing wrong with making a song about a dog, okay? But... can you actually give me some details? The good times, the bad times, or not just vague shit about, oh, I held your paw and help yourself to a bit of what's all around you when you're in the thick of it. What the fuck is that supposed to mean to a dog? Oh, sorry. Yeah, what were you proposing?
I was proposing we talk about the best and the worst.
Okay, yeah.
Because there's a lot of middling stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what's there to say about a good bit of it, but Side 2 here, they decided to give us all of the animal songs. And I don't know why. We got Martha My Dear, which is about a dog. We got Blackbird, which is about racism, but the song is a bird.
Oh, about freedom, you know.
Yes. But then we also got Piggies.
Oh.
And at this point,
music.
but it's political satire and commentary. The wealthy elites.
Line at the fucking tail end where it says, "Oh, clutching forks and knives to eat the piggies eating bacon." See, that's the commentary about the You have to fucking squint so hard to say, oh, 1984, okay, yeah, I get it. You're referencing that, okay, I guess I get it. You know, it's...
Harrison doesn't have a lot of songs on this, but so far I think he's 1-1 because I really like While My Guitar Gently Weeps, but Piggies, no.
And
Piggies can go.
It so overdoes it with the orchestral shit, and I mean... You know, especially compared to what the orchestra was used for later. Like, the moments on this album where the orchestra feels like it's so overloaded, it kind of feels like, okay, so, guys, you had them in here for that bullshit song where, like, you know, you just had a bunch of animals and shit, like, just going off on the shit and a bunch of, like, you're telling these assholes to play their instruments upside down or whatever the fuck bullshit. Maybe they should actually, like, play a full song, you know, so it doesn't feel like the studio's wasted the money. And they're like, fine, we'll have them play harpsichord and really, you know, really thick violins all over this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
how about Rocky Raccoon?
My thoughts going into this track. Saw the title track, I was like, oh, hey, the Guardians of the Galaxy character. You know, I wonder why they haven't awkwardly stuffed that song into one of those movies yet. And then I hear how it starts, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's why.
Oh, boy.
What the fuck? Rock Raccoon was... Get out of here, boys.
Raccoon,
Get out of here, boys. Get all the way out
Pack
of here
it in.
with this. Stop. This is offensive to white Southern hillbillies. What is this? And here's the thing. The hook is actually pretty nice. Like, it's pretty cool. Rocky Raccoon, the sun and the sun, running a dung, Gideon Bible. Like, there's that sort of like... Yeah, backwoods, you know, Walt Disney, Brer Rabbit sort of fucking music, you know what I mean? Like, Mr. Todd and Mr. Frog, you know, Ichabod and Mr. Crane, whatever the fuck type of music, you know what I mean? But the thing is, these stories just meander and waste time. And so it's like, that matters. Where the story goes matters, guys. You can't just like, isn't it nice that we just hung out with these people? It's like, no, do something. Because if it, like, they don't fucking care. You know, like, make me care that you brought up these people. Her name was McGill, and she called herself Lil, but everyone knew her as Nancy. Everyone should have stopped this fucking album and threw it out of the fucking window when that fucking lyric came. Fucking rewrite that shit. That was nothing. That was literally nothing. Her name was McGill, but they called her Lil, but everyone called her Nancy. What the fuck does McGill have to do with Nancy? What?
I wish it would stop it there, because then you would have prevented the next line, which is arguably even worse. Now she and her man, who called himself Dan. You can't.
He called himself. Just him. He was the only one who calls himself that.
You can't do that, man. Man and Dan. Stop. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this one.
And Rocky burst in, grinning a grin. Dude, this is awful. This is awful. If this was like 4th grade creative writing class, you'd be like, oh, no, you can't just use the same word. You have to like actually use different words. But you're getting paid millions.
I think it's interesting how we got a Beastie Boys. We got a Beach Boys pastiche. And we got a fucking American folk music pastiche. It's all just, Paul is sitting there being like, oh, well, I like this. Maybe I should do a song like that.
These other people are making really great music.
It's just like Paul just trying different shit. And none of it really lands. Like, some do. But not as much as what doesn't. Like, there's a lot of misses on here. Most of them are Paul's.
Why don't we do it in the road is absolute bullshit, faux blues nonsense that I am not trying to hear anymore. Like, I'm sorry, it never goes beyond that stupid, rock simple, stupid fucking premise. And it's like, why don't we do... No one will see you. That's why you don't do it in the road. Because they'll fucking run over you, you fucking stupid asshole. Here's the thing. You know a song is fucking stupid when Weird Al can't even do a parody of the song. Like, what would Weird Al's parody be? Why don't we bang on the railroad tracks? Like, how can you get stupider than the fucking original idea? Why don't we do it in the road? Like, get this shit out of my face. And then when I saw the fucking Across the Universe movie where they're trying so hard to put some sort of meaning into these lyrics, and they're like, oh, here's the scene with the really, like, intense people who've seen life, and they're rapping the song, why don't we do it in the road? Yeah,
I forgot that song was in the movie.
Here these respected musical veterans asking you, why can't we have sex in the middle of the street? Like, it's like, get this out of my fucking face. Then there are a lot of these songs where it's like stuff like I Will and Long, 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 where it's like, this sounds nice, but I don't care. Where it's just like, it's like, yep, that's really nice, respectable sounding music, I guess. But it didn't really say anything or really mean anything. So, okay. You know, like, here's respectable music, I guess. Like, you know.
Which one are you talking about there? Fucking, because there's I Will and there's Julia.
Oh, God. These nuts in your motherfucking face because I'm so sick of this stupid ass fucking slow ass music. Dude, fuck this song. I don't care that it's dedicated somehow to your mom and your girlfriend whose name is not Julia.
No, his son's name is Julian.
How many songs is he gonna dedicate to this child and name them different things each time? Because this happened like twice now.
Jude. Yeah, Jude.
What? If you didn't like your son's name him the thing that you wanted to name him.
Yeah.
It's your birthday. They say it's your birthday. Well, it's my birthday too. What the fuck was that? That's so... That's such an example of how selfish these guys are. Like, you're making a birthday song, and you can't even, like, fully focus on the person. Yeah, it's your birthday. Well, you know, it's my birthday, too, so, like, let's both celebrate. Like, hey, dude, I thought you were doing this for me. Like, what?
See, I want to backtrack for just a second, because... I understand, like, John has complex feelings about his mom, because she died when she was very, very young. And he didn't really get to have a relationship with her because I think she gave him up for adoption. Yeah, I think she handed him off to her sister, so she never, or her mom. I forget exactly. I think she handed him off to her mom, so he was actually raised by his grandmother, but thought his grandmother was his mom. Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna write this song, really pour my heart out. And also, oh yeah, I guess it could also be about my son Julian. Okay, yeah, that's bullshit. Like, it says he named his son Julian for his mom. Okay, I'm fine with that. I get that. But Julian got such the shit end of the stick that, like, how many songs are allegedly about him just kind of pissed me off even more. Because, like, Sean is the son he had with Yoko. Julian was John's son with his ex-wife that he doesn't really have anything to do with. So
interesting. That's
you
weird.
got songs named after you, but your dad wasn't there, and it's like kind of distanced himself. So
such a weird dynamic. Like,
yeah,
because the common perception would be that, oh, he probably really loves this son, right? Because he's writing so many songs about him. Oh.
No.
Those
so
are
then
just the
Julian
songs
went
that I
on
wrote.
to have a very short-lived solo career, have a song sound very much like his dad, but never
Because
really
of
make money
course.
waves. And now Sean's a fucking crypto douchebag.
Oh no, ain't that the way it goes?
Yeah. So yeah,
Nepo babies.
birthday, huh?
Damn Nepo babies.
The Nepo babies do it again. Yeah, so you're not a fan of the song that every fucking radio station uses when they do their rundown of celebrity birthdays?
This sounds like This sounds like a bonus track that you're only supposed to hear for people that were in like the fan club. It's like, oh, we just fucked around, made a song. Hey, when it's your birthday, we'll send this to you. You know, like, this does not sound like this is supposed to be on the album. Like, this is what I mean when I say, like, this is the album of the greatest band of all time? What is happening right now?
Okay, how about your blues?
What in the fuck?
No, not even your blues.
Yes, I'm lonely. I want to die. I'm so lonely. I want to die. If I ain't dead already, girl, you know the reason why. Wait, she does? Wait,
I
so
don't.
if you're not dead, wouldn't you be dead if she would know the right? Because you want to die, but you're not dead, and she knows that. You get what I'm fucking saying? It's like, you very blatantly.
It is a confusing lyric. I agree.
What the fuck do you expect me to think? Like, and again, this just imitation blues with no purpose. That's what it is. If you're gonna rip this shit off, at least let me feel like there's that's what it is. It's like, if you're ripping off this shit, but like, oh, but this is an actual story about something, and it's like, oh, well, but he's using that style in order to tell this story, and isn't that cool? Like, you know, like, oh, Crocodile Rockin', here's a full story about, hey, going to this place, and da-da-da. Now you're in the music sets you in the, you know, the bayou, and then the story that's being told is, you know, the actual narrative. But this is just fucking bullshit nonsense.
Mother Nature's Son. I forgot what was next.
Jesus Christ. So, this is like the most beautiful thing on this album.
And it's all Paul, too.
And this song bursts through the cloud of bullshit randomness. And then it's just like, and the whole time, here's the thing. I'm so abused and traumatized by the bullshit randomness of what happens before. Anytime I get a track like this, the whole time I'm just like sitting there waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, oh no, is it gonna like randomly burst into like a whole bunch of the sound of hornets and fucking bees and fucking stampeding cattle and fucking the sound of someone shitting on a fucking rug or some shit. I don't know. Like,
it does kind of do that though.
A little bit.
Everybody's got something to hide except for Me and My Monkey is one of the more wild songs on the album.
God, what in the world? You knew you titled the song that, and yet at no point does any monkey come up. There's nothing. It's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You titled it. You put the title, Me and My Monkey. I want to hear about a fucking monkey. I don't want to hear these vague abstract lyrics of the deeper you go, the higher you fly, and the higher you fly, the deeper you... Are you talking about a flying monkey or some shit? Fucking tell me about the fucking monkey. Don't just this stupid ass abstract nonsense bullshit. At least make bullshit nonsense about a monkey. You're like, oh, the monkey's whacking off and throwing it at you. Like, you know, like...
The song's about Yoko, though.
Oh, wow. He must have felt... She must have felt real fucking honored that it's about... I wrote a song about you, and now you're my favorite monkey. Wow. Real love.
I'm surprised you didn't like that one, actually, for how fucking wild it is.
Oh, man. If it just had... Like, the thing about it is, there's just nothing to hold on to. The thing about songs like this is, like, you can be wacky, but there has to be some sort of thing that is... That's what it is. I think that's what it is. It's like, when it's just wacky the whole time... And it's the same thing like when you watch a comedian who's just wacky and isn't even trying to do any setups or punchlines. It's just all about trying so hard to flop sweat and make you laugh at everything. And so it's just about being wacky and scattershot as possible, but you're not laughing after a while because it's like he's not doing any work to set up anything. So if it's all just wacky nonsense, then there's no footing anywhere that you can get. You know what I'm saying? And so like,
I get that.
That's what I feel about this writing is like when there's nothing that you can hold on to, then when the abstractness comes, like if it's just happening the whole time, you just feel like you're in the middle of a sludgy river of wacky nonsense. You're like, oh, well, fuck. But like, you know what I'm saying? There needs to be like we're on a little bit of, we're on a track here, we're moving here, and oh, there's a little bit of wackiness here, and wait, where are we going there? Oh, but you know, you're so in control and on the ride that you still can kind of feel it, and you can allow these wacky moments to happen. But with this one, it's just wackiness, and there's absolutely no fucking... no railroad track. There's no track to be on. So when you're just in a sea of wackiness, like, it just feels like there's no goddamn guardrails. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I actually do like Helter Skelter. I think that one still holds up.
Oh, yeah, Helter Skelter's the shit. I was gonna say, if you didn't at least like Helter Skelter, I don't know what we're talking about.
It's like, look, it's about a fucking slide. That said, it's one of the better songs on here because it makes you feel like going down the slide.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
And man, here's the thing. The way this fucking track rocks so fucking hard, and then it gets to the end, and then it does the fucking fade out and then fade back in. See, that's the wackiness that I kind of like. That it's like, we've enjoyed, this solid track that actually rocked pretty hard, and then doing this thing where it's like, well, it's just fading out, coming back in, it's fading out, and then it's like, oh, fuck it, all right, now we're at the end of the track, and then Ringo Starr just like, you can hear this whole time, he's been hitting that fucking snare, that fucking percussion real fucking hard, so when you hear it at the end, it's like, I got blisters on my fingers, it's like, holy shit.
You believe that shit.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, like on the track, it's such a great line because it's like, you can clearly tell it's because he's been forced to do a bunch of takes and is pissed off, and like maybe if you actually know, like that's the real reason. But out of context, if you're just hearing the song like casually, it sounds like we're rocking so fucking hard, and I'm so into this that by the end I was like, whoa! I'm so enjoying this so much that I'm like, I can't believe it! I got blisters on my fingers, like Like, isn't it funny how that's been misinterpreted? Like, because you hear people, like, whenever someone's, like, at the end of the song, they rock really hard, they're like, I got blisters on these fingers.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be, it's been interpreted as I'm rocking so hard, look what happened. But the original quote is basically being like, I'm so fucking pissed off and tired, look, dude, I can't do this anymore. Like, yeah, it reminds me of the Elvis has left the building quote, where it's like, yeah, that quote is supposed to be like, oh, this guy's out of here, guys, like that. Oh, the big fancy line that you say to punctuate that he's left. But in the original context, it was like, guys, please stop asking for an encore. Elvis has left the building. Like,
he's not here.
Yeah.
Go home.
He was just trying to get the crowd to disperse. Like it wasn't supposed to be a hot catchphrase.
Now, I don't really have anything to say about it, but I like the cool down of Long, Long, Long that follows Helter Skelter.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get it in that sense.
Revolution 1 is an interesting start to side 4. Not the Revolution that most people are probably familiar with, which is like the more straightforward, faster, kind of little like harder rocking song. This is it's basically a demo, like an early take of that song. Isn't
there another version of this song? Yeah, because I'm used to the version where we're like, I was like, I can swear there's a more upbeat version in the vocals that sounds like faster BPM and the high crackling black voice thing, Yeah.
Right.
Why is that one not on here? Because that one is clearly better. Like,
they haven't recorded it yet.
Are you serious? What? No. Oh, come on. Because I was thinking, because he says take 2, and I was thinking, oh, did they like do the first one and this one's like the second one? Because I was like, fuck, I like the energy of that one so much more. Like, I would give this one a 4, but I would give the other one a 5 for how like.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's so much more fun. With this one, it's just like, it just feels so much more down note,
Yeah, the other one ends up just being a B-side to Hey Jude. It's not even an album single.
That's insane.
Yeah. So what we get, if you listen to the super deluxe version on Spotify, that's like a whole bunch of extra material and a whole bunch of outtakes and demos. There's a 10-minute version of this song that you basically only get the first 4 minutes. And then it fades out, I think. But in the 10-minute version, it just kind of falls apart into this weird kind of like hectic jam. Huh. And Lennon is just screaming. He's just screaming, oh, right. And he's just screaming over it. He's making all these weird...
It's a metaphor about how revolutions can often lose their ways ideologically and become...
Of course. Yeah. And... He's just making noises after a while, And at the 10-minute mark, it just kind of ends. But what they planned for was one 20-minute long song that starts with Revolution 1, goes for 10 minutes, then Revolution 9 is the second half of it. But instead, what we get is Revolution 1 plays like you hear it. Then Revolution 9 takes clips of John from the second half of Revolution 1, where he's just ad-libbing, and splices it over classical loops and random noises.
I would love to see the person who was editing this. Like, while they were, like, was this just a one-shot take thing, or did they, like, actually, no, and now we have the chickens coming out of this pot, and then we have the instrumentalist playing their instruments upside down at this pot, and, you know, like, what the fuck?
What I read was that George had already come out with a solo record, and he kind of had some experimental stuff on there, and he was interested in the idea of tape looping. And John liked it too, and Yoko was a fan, obviously, because they too had also kind of done some experimental stuff in their the first couple solo albums John released are just like,
yeah, it's us just having dinner, and it's recording us just having dinner or some dumb shit like that, right?
Yeah, but there's also like there's a song of like tape loops too. So basically, George, John, and Yoko. What's that?
Oh, it's fucking mixtapes. Like, yo, check out these sick loops I made.
John, George, and Yoko just came together and just made Revolution 9 with very little involvement from the other two, but everyone else was like kind of like, yeah, sure, why not? We were able to get our bullshit on there. Why not just fucking go, you know, hog wild, I guess.
Can I just say this? The original Revolution, like, I feel like it's possibly one of the best written songs on the whole fucking album.
Oh, for sure. Because
it's one of the few songs that has a consistent point to it where, like, because as I listen to it, I actually think he makes a really good point. Like, the general idea is that, like, hey, you know, you want a revolution, and I get that, you know, everyone wants to change the world, but hey, you know, if you take things too far in the wrong direction in the name of a righteous cause, you know, that I'm not with that. Like, you know, I like that. Like, it's a sort of, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and, you know, you don't get to just, you know, do whatever just because you just believe it's the right thing, so we're allowed to do that, you know? So, like, that's the most mature message on this whole fucking album, and I'm like, yo, like, that's so measured and like pensive and just like, where was this the entire album?
It really feels like, and it's wild that it's 30 songs in total, because it feels like they had a few that they really wanted to do, and then everything else is just kind of filler.
Yeah, like I said,
there's so much filler. Like, why this much?
I feel like we're listening. I feel like these discographies came out like in a parallel sideways universe, and we're listening to them the wrong way. Like, the wacky songs were supposed to be on one album. The 60s hippie songs were supposed to be on one album, and someone just fucked up the timeline.
Yeah.
Just jumbled them all together because it doesn't make sense. Because I hear, like I said, there are great albums in these albums, but I can't act like you know, half the shit is not that I'm not hearing the shit that I'm hearing.
My take growing up, and I think it's changed slightly, that you could get one really good album out of the White Album, like out of the two. It is essentially like half of it's really good, half of it's what is this doing here? Yeah. And ultimately that did eventually reflect in my scoring. But before we get there, Honey Pie's the worst. All I have written down is boo, throw tomatoes at this man, because that's what I pictured, is just like vaudeville,
him in a white
Paul
suit
McCartney.
Doing his dumb song, and people are just like, shut up, do actual rock.
Just pelting him with vegetables. But we also got Savoy Truffle on here.
Okay.
What did you think of this one?
Look, I like a food song, all right? But if I don't know what the fuck food you're talking about half the time, I'm like, I can't get into it. Cream tangerine and a Montelamar and a ginger sling with a pineapple heart, coffee, dessert. Like, I don't know what these are.
So, did you read what this is about?
Okay, well, when I looked it up, it's like, because it's like you're listening to it, and again, I'm kind of doing this thing. It's like, I don't need to necessarily know exactly what every single line is about, but the idea is that, like, the way I do it is, like, if I'm listening to the song and I can enjoy it without having to think about it, then it's fine. But if I keep having the moment where I'm like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? I'm not going to act like I'm not feeling that way, right? So, like, with this, I hear, it's just like coffee, dessert, yes, it's good news, all this sort of stuff. But you'll have to have them all pulled out after the Savoy truffle. And I'm like, wait, what? You have to have them all pulled out? And, I'm trying to go by sentence structure by going like, oh, you'll have to have them all pulled out. What pulled out? Have them. Well, he was referring to all of these things before. Well, you have to have all of these delicious desserts pulled out after the Savoy truffle. Like, is that what he means? Well, oh, no, they said, what he means is you'll have to have all your teeth pulled out after the Savoy truffle. How the fuck was I supposed to guess that? He nowhere mentions teeth. Like, what?
I guess if you're aware of the chocolates in the Good News collection, then you would know that you're talking about the teeth.
It's a fucking... that was a reference.
Yeah, it's like a Whitman sampler, but it's Good News.
Oh, you gotta get your Ferrero Rocher on, or whatever the fuck.
Yes. So essentially, racist asshole Eric Clapton in the late 60s was addicted to these chocolates, and they wrote the song about him as a little joke.
Wow. Oh man. So it's about how he enjoys the things that Brown gives him, but doesn't actually. You know what I mean?
He likes the brown chocolates, but he wants the brown people pulled out of his country instead of his teeth.
Oh no! He's gotta have them all pulled out after the Savoy trouble.
Oh no! Crybaby Cry, I didn't really have anything to say about that one.
Yeah, that shit was just boring. The one thing I wrote was that, like, hey, it's that They Might Be Giants 90s pirate synth noise.
It had that really weird switch up for the outro. That was like, what's this?
That little synth, you know what I mean? Like, it's...
Yeah.
I feel like I hear it on, like, whenever they're playing, like, SpongeBob music in, like, a video game for SpongeBob, it's that type of synth.
There were a couple instances on this album where I was like, are they fucking around with synths on this? Like, that's interesting. Not nearly enough.
Okay, so now we get to the final two tracks.
Ooh, yeah.
Revolution number 9 is on this show, I feel iconic for being the very first song that I've given a -1 to.
Ooh.
As in, like, bitch, nobody needs to hear this. Nobody wants to hear this. This isn't actually made for ears to, you know what I mean? This isn't even like, oh, this is so bad. Like, no. This is specifically designed to say, we're the biggest band in the world and we can do this. Like, this is what I mean by it's the meta, thing of like, what, can you believe we're the biggest band in the world and we can do some bullshit like this? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I do, however, have to take issue. There's no way this is the first one.
The first
there
one.
There has to have been one that got a -1 before. If you look back, there has to have been.
Oh, actually, you're right. Maybe, I think on that, album, the Sesame Street Muppets, or whatever the fuck.
The Sesame Street Gangsters.
Yeah, so Sesame Street Gangsters and the Beatles have the dubious honor of having -1 stars, where it's just like, this isn't for anybody. And by the patent way that it's created, it's not for anybody. No one's supposed to be listening to this and fucking tapping their foot. It's supposed to be, what the fuck is this? That's the reaction you're supposed to have when you hear it, right? Now, here's the thing. I was like, oh yeah, this is the note that I wrote. It's like, when I imagined, the thing that you imagine, the fucking, Dewey Cox story, the part where he's all coked out, and then there's a whole bunch of musicians and animals in the fucking recording booth, and You know what I mean? You kind of expect it to actually come together in a crazy way, like, oh, here's this really big song that has this really grand chorus and this beautiful, you know what I mean? Like, that's what you're kind of expecting. And then when you're just like, oh, it's just this. It's just a bunch of fucking chaos. Just like, it's exactly what you thought it would turn out to be. It's not like oh man, this is going to be a really big thing, but they're going to pull it together. They're going to figure out how to make, orchestrate all of these voices and sounds and make it so that it really makes sense when you hear it. Like, nope, there wasn't a big master plan. It was just as rambunctious and stupid and overproduced and overdone as it seemed like it was going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was just purposely trying to replicate what they thought a revolution would sound like in sound. Like, the chaos, try to replicate what they envisioned a revolution would sound like.
And because it's like at the tail end, you hear like some people sounding like they're protesting. And it's like, okay, you're trying to do some fucking Koyaanisqatsi shit where it's like, oh, we're just showing, all around the world of things happening. But like, that would be nice if it actually sounded like that. If it was like, oh, there's like news clippings of like, protests breaking out over here. That's what I mean. Like, they didn't actually have the balls to actually make it sound like that. You know what I mean?
Well, no. Especially because the sounds aren't protesting at all, but it's clips of an audience at a soccer game yelling, hold that line, block that kick.
Okay, see, I thought that was it, because I was like, wait, what is actually being said here? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I know
it wasn't protesters.
It's just faux shit, like, faux on top of faux.
What do we have access to in the recording library that we can use that we don't actually have to record anything new exactly? What do we got at our fingertips that we could throw in here? I used to absolutely hate this song as a kid, and it used to scare the shit out of me, quite frankly. And it, like, when I was really, really little and I was listening to the Beatles, it was like the early 60s stuff, like the bubblegum pop type shit.
Yeah.
And that's what I was into, because like, oh yeah, it's sing-songy. The songs are like 2 minutes.
And you're like, this is all the Beatles are. Fun, sunshiny, happy stuff.
Yeah. And you kind of turn a blind eye to the later stuff because it's more serious, it's more druggy, So when I finally checked out the White Album, it was like, wow, this is like the Beatles at like their most mature and weird. And when I heard that, it was just like, it fucking scarred me. Like, seriously.
Well, I get, like,
this song was traumatic as a kid.
I feel like when you're a kid, right, there's always a big sense of like, you're relying on the adults around you to tell you that there is security and that things are okay. And so when you're hearing this song where it's just chaos, you're just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to think. What the fuck is happening? Like,
yeah, you literally have no idea what any of the sounds even are. Like, what's going on in this? So yeah,
like, is this what it sounds like when I die? Like,
I hate to say it, and I hate to sound like, I don't know what I would even sound like. I guess a hipster more than anything.
Oh, but you like it. You have an affection for it because of that, don't you? You son of a bitch.
I do kind of like it now.
Oh, you softy. You've gotten soft on me, Muse.
You've gotten soft in overcoming that trauma. That you've now been able to embrace this thing that scared you at a young age. That you can now listen to it the whole way through and just kind of be like, appreciating certain aspects of it.
No, I totally get that in the sense of like, I remember as a kid being freaked out by the Clint Eastwood video and what was that one video, Hellbent, by that one group?
Hellbent.
It was like claymation. It would look really weird. And it was like in this dark gray world where this guy is like really like creepy looking, and then he finds like a happiness thing and it's like inside him or something like that, and so it looks really creepy because it's like, oh, if you look in there it's all bright and shiny, but outside it's all dark and grim.
What video is that?
Toonami used to have this thing where they'd show like, oh, we're giving it's like late night block for animated music videos. And I remember it would be like a whole bunch of videos where, of course, because I'm a kid, I'm like, yeah, let's stay up late and watch music videos. And then all the music videos are like creepy, and you're like, but I don't want to stop watching because I'm, intrigued, but I'm freaked out.
I found it. Yeah, this is creepy. I don't know how I feel about this.
Right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have liked this either. I don't think I've ever seen this the full way through. I've seen clips of it though, at least. I was aware of this.
Oh my god, It's fucking creepy as shit, right?
Yeah, where it's like this guy opens up his stomach and there's a TV in it.
It's like, what the fuck is happening? And it's just the way the faces look, the amorphous faces. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And in working in this dark world factory where the guy's like, work. It's one of those things where you're like, you're trying to freak me out on purpose, music video people.
Oh, but then everything gets all bright and he fucking... Oh, yeah, that's right. But then he finds a way...
to monetize the happiness you see.
Yeah,
it's a metaphor.
How heartbreaking.
See, now here's my thing. Like, as an adult, you know, I can appreciate that now. Because, like, as a kid, well, that was just imagery that freaked me out. But as an adult, like, I can see an artist who is trying to make a statement. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I can't do that with a lot of these Beatles songs. I can't go like, oh, well, when you're younger, you don't get it. But when you're an adult, there's more that's going on. It's like, no, when you're younger, it may have not made sense. But as you grow up, no, it still didn't make sense. But, you know, because you were a kid, you just didn't question it as much. You know?
Yeah. And then we just end with
what
good night
in the world. This fucking 1930s musical fucking... I just want to look at the Beatles and just like cut them off and just run into the studio, just cut the music and be like, guys, you're a rock band. What are you doing?
What are you doing? What is this?
Oh, man.
They wanted to record a nice lullaby at the end of the album. You can't fault them for that.
And it's so weird at the tail end where it just sounds so earnest, where it's like, all right, good night, everyone. All right, good night. I'm going to kiss you on the forehead before you go to sleep. Like, it's like, what the fuck? Are you actually, like, trying to, like, all of my fans, put this song on before you go to bed? Like, is this album supposed to be, you know, a little night music before we go to bed? Is that what this is? Like, because you did not, none of these songs really set that up. Like, there's maybe like the Blackbird song, that was a nice lullaby song, but I don't know how I'm supposed to feel like going to sleep with the fucking revolutionary song that just happened. Like, what the fuck was that? Oh, guys, I know I just fucking freaked you the fuck out and it sounded like fucking hell and the Holocaust just happened, but time to go to sleep. Like, what the fuck? What are you...
Yeah, way they follow Revolution 9 with this, it's so fucking jarring.
It's so
almost as jarring.
And sweet, where you're just like, I don't get it.
Good night, good night. It's like, oh, this is very, very sweet. I don't know what this is doing here, though.
What is this Sondheim musical number doing here?
It's like if... You wouldn't have experienced this if you're listening to the record or the CDs because it's separate, but listening on Spotify, going from Julia to Birthday is also very jarring. Because just, it says, Lennon told me he wanted to write a song about his mother. He said, Donovan, you're the king of writing children's songs. Can you help me? I want to write a song about the childhood that I never really had with my mother. He asked me to help him with the images that he could use in lyrics for a song about the subject. So I said, well, when you think of the song, where do you imagine yourself? And John said, I'm at the beach and I'm holding hands with my mother and we're walking together. And I helped him with a couple lines. Seashell eyes, windy smile, for the Lewis Carroll Alice in Wonderland feel that John loved so much. It's like, what the hell? No, you can't do that.
Yeah, and so you got a children's songwriter. So that fucking explains it.
Yeah, essentially.
They weren't trying to make songs for babies. God
here's
damn it,
the
this would be
moment of
like
truth.
if the Wiggles was like, hey, we want to get a little weird and abstract every now and then. It's like, and fucking music critics in the 2000s were like, yo, this shit's fucking brilliant. Yo, I know you don't want to give the Wiggles a shot, but yo, bro, give that Wiggles a fucking play, bro. Like, that shit got a 10 out of 10 on Pitchfork, bro. Like, those critics know what they're talking about.
I'd love to see if the Wiggles went weird and experimental and avant-garde.
Like, honestly, as I'm saying that, I'm like, I feel like I'm just describing They Might Be Giants, but with They Might Be Giants...
yeah, I guess so, yeah.
They make that work for the most part. Like I said, again, we have our criticisms for like one or two of the songs where it kind of doesn't feel like it sticks, but for the most part, when you listen to a They Might Be Giants song, like, even when it gets to weird abstract places, you're still kind of along for the ride because they do a good job of, like, engrossing you in the world enough where you don't question it. With this, it is, they're just so, it's so clear that they're throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks, you know? And so when you get to this big puffy song at the end, you're just like, okay, I guess this is really well done, but I don't want to hear this. It's like, you know?
Yeah. So, what'd you get?
I give it a 2 out of 5.
I got a 3.5.
I'm honestly surprised that it's as high as it was. Because I was like,
yeah,
I had such a rough experience where it's like, again, even the songs I like are like infuriating because it's like I only really have like them.
Yeah, it's like I said, about half the album is good. The other half is mid to bad.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm just sitting here like, is this what we're getting visionary directors to remaster old footage for because of the legacy of this? Like, what?
Yeah.
Shit, let me get in the studio and make some bullshit children's songs. Someone call me a legend. Let me throw on a fucking British voice and I'll be respectable. I'm sorry. I just, it's so just like, really? This is what?
So if there's any chance that anyone, Dr. Goatman or anyone, would actually want to request another Beatles album for whatever reason, I don't know. Take your pick. But I feel like shooting your shot with Abbey Road followed by the White Album.
Dude,
that's a weird place to start.
Early ones. Someone's gonna be like, "Yeah, listen to those fucking 50s black and white songs for 40 minutes."
Listen to With the Beatles now. See what you think of this one. It's like, whoa, okay. The weird culture shock of like half the album aren't even originals. They're like covers. So I was like, oh, geez.
Yeah, half of the songs are like the same cover, but in a different language because they were trying to, sell to Brazil or some shit.
You gotta listen to the German version, yeah.
It's a totally different vibe. Like,
oh, yeah.
Honestly, if they really did that, though, like, if it, like, because, Revolution, the first one, is different from the one that I like, like, if they actually did it where it's like they actually changed up the styles for each different one, that actually might be kind of worth it, but.
Yeah.
But I doubt it.
But that about does it for this week's episode. Boy, oh boy. Thank you very much for spending your time and listening to our show. If this, I haven't said this in a minute, but if this happens to be the first time you've listened to our show, almost all of our old episodes are on Spotify and YouTube. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm currently working to try to get some of the old episodes re-edited, getting all the boring and potentially problematic stuff out of them to update them for a 2023 audience. And if you have an album that you want to request for a future episode of the show, head on over to our Ko-fi. That is ko-fi.com/goinoff. That's GOINOFF.
Yeah, oh my God, we like the Looney Tunes where we have like, in the vault stuff, like, oh, now this was during a certain time.
See, that's why I don't just put them up there as is. We don't have the Whoopi Goldberg intro standing up there explaining like the beginning of the Little Rascals. Like,
it's so funny. Us, we probably clowned on those cartoons and 40. Can you imagine those people to possibly have controversial, entertainment ideas that they pushed across in their art? That couldn't be us.
No, not at all. Never.
Oh man,
we grew up a lot is all I'm saying. But where was I going? Oh, you're also going to want to follow us on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and all those other places where we put other content.
That's right,
out there.
Oh yeah, for on my end, patreon.com/rapcritic if you want to support me, the movie podcast that I do, as well as getting episodes early, as well as join the Rap Critic Patreon Discord, or going to ko-fi.com/rapcritic for all the requests that aren't album requests, like song song review requests, movie requests, or music stream requests. You know, you can request best of a certain artist or, best of an artist. I think that, yeah, those are the main two things I do, like best of an artist or like an album request. So yeah, get with it, act like you want it. And if that's all we've got to say, let's wrap this puppy up because we've been going for a minute.
Yeah, this is almost a 3-hour long recording. I have no idea how long the episode is going to be, but it's probably going to be a doozy anyway. But until next time, for Going Off, I'm Muse.
And I'm Rap Critic. And slow them up, speed it up, slow it up, speed it up. Audience, feed us requests, going off, eat them up, speed them up, slow them up, speed them up, slow them up. Brain sick, tick, tick, going off, blow it up.